The pirate journey of Arceus. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151 Arceus vs Buddha Warring States. However, this will at least have to wait until Sora hands over his position as the marshal before the change of generation. They still need to learn, and there are still many things to learn as a qualified naval commander. Nowadays, Kyuzen follows Garp most of the time, Borsalino follows Sengoku, and Sakazuki follows another veteran vice admiral, but this position is not fixed and often changes. In addition to Sengoku, there is another vice admiral on the ship, but his strength is not as good as Borsalino at this time. With the flash fruit, he is more suitable to play his advantages in the air. Under Sengoku's order, Borsalino turned into a flash and came to the sky, but before he could do anything, Zerora had already attacked him. Brother of the Fur Tribe, or the little brother of the Fur Tribe, can you please get out of the way? My mission target is not you. Looking at Zerora, who is much shorter than him, Borsalino has some complaints in his mouth. His personality seems a bit unpredictable within the Navy, but because he chose to join the Navy and his own strength is also very strong, the Navy also condones this behavior. Unless it was a matter of life and death, he would bargain slightly for the Admiral's order. Many people did not understand why such a person would choose to join the Navy. This is my lord's entertainment time. No one is allowed to interfere. It seems that the negotiation failed, but it doesn't matter. 8-foot mirror. Borsalino turned into a flash of light, and after several refractions, he passed Zerora in front of him, intending to quickly execute Sengoku's request and return to the warship. The effort at this time was to better fish. After all, only after completing the order could he go back. But the facts were not as smooth as he thought. Zerora's voice rang in his ears when he turned into a flash. I said you are not allowed to go over there, didn't you hear it? The tail wrapped in armed color swept towards him and directly interrupted Borsalino's 8-foot mirror. Young people nowadays are getting more and more terrible. Looking at Zerora, who was catching up, Borsalino adjusted his glasses. It seemed that he had to be more serious. This was not the ordinary pirates who could be easily dealt with in the past. The ability of the Pikachu fruit made his speed unique in the Navy, and almost no one could keep up with his speed. This was the ability that the Pikachu fruit gave him, the speed of light, but this speed could not get rid of Zerora, because Zerora could also move at the speed of lightning. Flash and lightning are both a type of light, and Zerora was as fast as Kizaru. The lightning sizzled, and Zerora and Borsalino fought in a group, not giving him any chance to interfere with Arceus. He could not get rid of Zerora in close combat, and even if he released a laser, it would be blocked by Zerora's lightning. Most of the people on the Navy ship could not see what was happening in the sky. They could only see two groups of light spots colliding back and forth. General Sengoku, Major General Borsalino seems to be entangled. He can't break through the enemy's obstruction. How about I? No, you take over my command. If you defend for too long, you will lose. We can't keep defending like this. He blocked many waves of dragon stars, but the subsequent dragon stars kept coming. If the problem cannot be solved from the root, then he can only passively take the beating forever. Moreover, Sengoku seemed to have discovered a pattern. That is, there will be intervals between the formation of those meteors. Seizing an opportunity, Sengoku's figure disappeared on the ship. The next moment, his palm containing endless Buddha light slapped Arceus. The 6 styles is a skill of the Navy and the world government. As a Navy admiral, he naturally knows how to use the moon step. Zerora saw Sengoku appear next to Arceus and wanted to stop him, but Borsalino did the same thing as him. Hey, little brother from the Fur Tribe, where do you want to go? Get lost. What a terrible tone, but I can't do that, or General Zanjiuo will criticize me later. But by the way, have you ever been kicked at the speed of light? The shining calf and the fist-wrapped in lightning came into contact, and a more violent conflict broke out in the sky. Zanjiuo's attack did achieve certain results. For example, the warship was not attacked by the Dragon Star group, but he missed. His palm penetrated Arceus' body, but failed to cause any damage. The touch sent back was exactly the same as hitting the air. As Arceus, who was hit by him, slowly disappeared. His real body was revealed again. What Zanjiuo hit just now was the fake body created by the shadow clone. Arceus's real body had already moved to his position. Who are you? You can't be an unknown person. Interesting question. Unfortunately, I don't want to answer you. But as a Navy Admiral, how confident are you in your own strength? In just a blink of an eye, Arceus disappeared again, and Sengoku felt a sharp pain in his chest. Speed, a move of the attack type. According to what Borsalino often said, speed is power. With the blessing of speed, a huge force penetrated the golden body on the surface of Sengoku's body, causing a considerable impact on his internal organs. Your golden body seems to be more than just an empty shell on the surface of the body. It's really hard. Sengoku didn't say anything, but his body became larger and larger, gradually turning into a huge Buddha sitting cross-legged in the air. The huge Buddha's hand with a swastika symbol grabbed Arceus. I'm not a monkey, but if it's Buddha, how about trying this trick? A large number of plant roots appeared out of thin air, entwined together to form a big Buddha. Under the influence of electromagnetic levitation, the big Buddha also floated in the air, and Arceus stood on its head. Then thousands of giant arms made a vine smash towards Sengoku one after another. Crazy plant modification through thousands of hands top Buddha. This may not make the moves stronger, but it can make the moves cooler. In the past, he could only imagine it himself, but now he can really replicate those moves. Simply using vines to hit people is not as intimidating as such a tree Buddha, but I don't know if it's an illusion. Arceus seems to hear the sound of a camera shutter. At the same time, Zerora also returned to his side. Just now, he burst out a lot of electricity and temporarily forced Kizaru back, because his remaining endurance could not support him to continue fighting. Sorry, my lord, Zerora had not recharged for more than 3 years since his birth. If it weren't for the battle with the young Kizaru, his battery life would have been longer. Arceus naturally saw that he was out of power. In this case, this battle should be over. Sengoku, I'll give you another gift before you leave. A grass attributed punishment light gravel shot from the top of the Buddha's head to Sengoku. Sengoku in the giant Buddha state failed to avoid this attack, and his golden body could not withstand the power of this punishment light gravel. A huge crack appeared on his golden body. At the same time, the attack of the crazy plants had not stopped. Countless fists hit him one after another, and Sengoku's figure fell from the sky. Although Borsalino caught the falling Sengoku, Arceus and the others had long disappeared. Chapter 152. Zephyr is right. General Sengoku, are you okay? What do you think? The Great Buddha fruit also gave him a strong recovery ability. Although the characteristics of the Great Buddha's golden body allowed him to accept Arceus's punishment light gravel, his current state was not very good. They've left. I know, the intelligence department is a bunch of rubbish. I will complain to Marshal Kong when I go back. He was not afraid of not having intelligence. He was afraid that the intelligence department would not be able to figure out the truth of the intelligence and dare to send it up. This kind of completely wrong information in his hands is simply a trap. Although Borsalino quickly caught him, Sengoku did not want to praise him for this, because compared to the scars left on Sengoku, Borsalino could be said to have not lost a single hair. However, due to the last Zerora's big lightning, his hairstyle was affected to a certain extent. Borsalino's hair when he was young was still not changed to the simple short hair, and for a while it was almost permed into a brand new hairstyle. What were you doing just now? General Sengoku, I tried very hard to fight the enemy, but this fur tribe is different. He seems to be an ability user with lightning speed and a high level of domineering. Neither of us can do anything to him. It is difficult for the natural type to be injured in battle. Although the armed color can touch the entity of the natural type, the ability user of the natural type can also use the observation color to predict the body to be attacked and disperse in advance so that the enemy cannot touch them. Zerora's observation color practice is slightly worse, so it is difficult to cause effective damage to Borsalino, and he doesn't have much to do with Zerora. Borsalino's attack itself has a certain pause. That is because, although his body turns into light, his reaction and thinking are still human. Even if he is a monster among humans, it takes a certain amount of time for him to react. This time is very short, and it is almost invisible with the help of the flash fruit, but the pause of that moment is enough for Zerora to act. Although his observation color is not as good as Borsalino, his fighting nerves are naturally stronger than Borsalino. Zeph is right. You are too focused on the fruit ability, so you neglect the training of physical skills. In Sengoku's generation, neither Garp nor Zeph are ESP users, and he himself is an animal type ESP user, so he has always attached great importance to physical skills. Borsalino has been a natural type ESP since the day he joined the training camp, and he also has the fastest phantom fruit, so he has always neglected this aspect. It's not that he is weak in physical skills, but there is a big gap compared to those physical skills masters. Sengoku-san, you should take good care of your injuries first. Borsalino didn't really want to talk about this topic. Among the many students taught by Zephyr, his relationship with Zephyr was probably the most ordinary one. So after hearing Sengoku's old talk, he took him back to the ship directly, and it was also inappropriate to keep floating in the air. Although the Buddha form was lifted, Sengoku still maintained his golden body at this time, looking like an Oscar statuette. This is the ability of his fruit. The cracks in the golden body can be slowly repaired by the fruit ability, but directly removing the ability and letting the injury feed back to the body, it is not so easy to recover from the injury again. Most of the dragon stars were blocked by Sengoku, and only when he rushed out to fight did some of the subsequent dragon stars hit the hull. The navy suffered some minor casualties, but overall it was still within acceptable range. In the cabin of Sengoku's warship, a man was checking his film. His mission was to accurately photograph the target's face, and it seemed that he had completed it very well. However, he had a lot of obsessive compulsive disorder in taking pictures. After carefully selecting, he finally found the photos of Arceus standing on the head of the plant Buddha and Zerora with electric light wrapped around his body. According to Arceus's order, the Origin had left in advance, and he helped Zerora charge the battery first. After all, Zerora was one of the very few electrical Pokémon that did not have a power generation organ. However, his endurance was still very high. Although this battle consumed more electricity, it was also related to the fact that he had little remaining power. Under normal circumstances, his endurance was still very long. However, this battle did expose a shortcoming. Zerora's height was not suitable for this world full of little giants. It seemed that he had to slightly adjust his ability to grow his height. There are many other things. In the future, he really has some relationship with Setsuna. According to Setsuna's development level, it is a strange development of driving a big car. After they returned, the Origin began to move towards the direction of Wano country, and also inspected the territory outside the beasts. Sengoku's ship returned to the Navy headquarters in advance. Once Garp started chasing Roger, he would get excited. It was unwise to wait for him to come back here. When Sengoku returned to the Navy headquarters, the first thing he did was to find Sora to complain about the intelligence department's negligence. You mean, that wasn't a pet of the beast's pirates, but a powerful animal type ability user? Well, he's very strong. I don't know how much of a contribution he made, but he's enough to pose a threat to the Admiral. How does he compare to Roger and Whitebird? I don't know. It's hard to judge. I understand what you mean, but this information was not collected by our Navy. It was captured by the agents of the world government. They didn't take it seriously at the time. I will complain to the world government, but it probably won't have any effect. As for the identity of the ability user, I'll send someone to investigate later, but you can take a look at this first. Khan handed the new information to Sengoku, which was detailed information about the Battle of Edwall. Did Golden Lion suffer such a huge loss? Yes, more than half of the ships were destroyed in that sea area, and many of his officers and captains were also killed. The pirates in the New World are going to be restless again. Most pirates are eager for higher fame and fortune, and stepping on the corpses of their predecessors is the fastest way to get to the top. So every year there are newcomers who don't know how to live or die to challenge the old pirates in the New World. The Fekong pirates, which have suffered heavy losses, are seen by many as a piece of fat meat, but the big pirates did not act rashly. They know very well that compared to those subordinates, Golden Lion himself is the most important link in the Fekong pirates. As long as Golden Lion is still there, the Fekang pirates will have a solid foundation. Is this going to be published in the newspaper? Of course, those pirates will probably start a new round of civil strife when they see this news. Letting them consume themselves is also what the higher-ups want to see. You should go back and recuperate first. Even if you are a person with special abilities, you have to pay attention to these issues. I will urge the intelligence department to do a good job. Chapter 153 Excellent Intelligence Personnel. Although the Navy and the world government did not station a large number of troops in the New World, there have always been many intelligence personnel. Bounty hunters, black market traders, and some pirates are all disguised by personnel of the world government and the Navy. They have no other tasks, they only need to collect relevant information. Arceus often appears in the territory of the Beast's pirates. It is not difficult to investigate his name, but in terms of his ability, the agents have limited information. At that time, those elites were brought into Wano country. Those who stayed behind and saw Arceus's ability were also considered small leaders of pirates. In order to avoid exposing themselves when inquiring for information, they rarely come into contact with the leader. In addition, although there are many people with abilities in the Beast's pirates now, it is not strange in the eyes of the Navy personnel, and they only send people because Arceus has the power to injure Sengoku. Under this illusion, they did not explore his true power. He is called the Holy Beast by the members and has a close relationship with Kaido. He is suspected to be the second in command or an equal position. This is the conclusion they came to after a simple investigation. Although it is still not very comprehensive, compared with the unidentified creatures, the outrageous name of the pet of the Beast's pirates is much more detailed. After the intelligence collection department collects the intelligence, it will feed back to the superiors behind it, and then the analysis department will analyze the specific situation based on the intelligence. According to the information they collected, the analysis department will redetermine the bounty and title. However, the analysis department has the same idea as Sengoku on this point. They believe that Arceus is just a mythical beast with special abilities, not a strange creature. How could Kaido be on an equal footing with a strange creature? However, the other party's fruit ability is unknown. According to past data analysis, the other party can control plants in flames, and also has the ability to fly. According to uncertain information, the other party also has the ability to give power to others. The analysis department has two conclusions about this. One is that there is no problem with the collected intelligence, and Arceus does have this ability. The other is that these are all Kaido's tricks. Those so-called empowerments are just technical breakthroughs made by the Beast's pirates. When this message was mentioned, Quinn's information was also sent up. Quinn the Plague, a member of the Beast's pirates, was one of the original members of the MAD's research team. He later joined the Beast's pirates. He is good at human body modification and has done some research on bloodline factors. We think he may have achieved better results in this regard. Maybe we underestimated him at the beginning and should have included him in the scientific research team. However, neither side was able to convince the other. In the end, the two conclusions were sent to the MT table together. The specific results can only wait for more detailed information from the agents. But this did not cause much reaction from the Navy. There are many people who can injure the admirals of the Navy. Some of them have now entered the underwater prison in Pelton, and some are still outside. Golden Lion, Whitebird, Roger, Red Count Baroric Redfield. Now there is only one more Arceus, so they just increase the reward according to convention. The Navy did not make any big moves before Ox exposed his ambitions. Now the various behaviors of the beasts are just small fights in their rise. As for Zorora, his information is less than Arceus. At least Arceus will often move in the territory, and Zorora has no information, except the identity and name of the Carters. In this way, the new bounty order and the news of the Battle of Edwall spread throughout the world. As for the questioning of responsibility raised by Zenjiuo, it was just raised high and gently put down in the end. The CP department is directly under the world government. They and the Navy are two completely independent departments. If they have to deal with their subordinates because of a random complaint from the Navy, then the face of the CP chief will be lost. The most important point is that the CPs don't think this is a big deal. It is inevitable that there will be mistakes in the agent's information. Even the ace agent can't guarantee that the mission will be 100% successful. The Navy didn't take it too seriously and didn't pursue anything after the complaint was filed. So under the complaint of the Navy, only some written punishment and confinement were imposed on the agent, and there were no more practical measures. The world government also meant that both sides could save face, and there would be no major consequences anyway. The Navy is the thug of the world government, and the CP is their eyes and ears. Friction between the two departments occurs from time to time, and they are used to it. Whether it is the CP or the Navy, the provocations will be resolved, unless the matter is closely related to the celestial dragons. The world government will invest more energy. However, this incident also gave rise to changes in the Navy system. They need more of their own spies. Under the auspices of Sengoku, a secret force called Sword appeared in the Navy, collecting and analyzing intelligence, holding meetings and discussions, and waiting for the new bounty order to be determined. The origin had already returned to Wano country. There were 2 more towering chimneys, and it seemed that 2 new factories had been added here. The holy beasts are back. Pull up the origin. In the submerged port, the rotating gears drove the chain, and the primitive elevator brought the origin into the inland sea of Wano country. Shortly after they came back, Shaina appeared on the origin, holding a stack of documents in her hands, recording some recent events in Wano country. Overall, the development is relatively good. The weapons manufactured in the factory have begun to be put into production, and the fruit trees planted have begun to sprout. Soon after Arceus came back, Kaido also transformed into a blue dragon and left here again. Wano country is still developing, and there must be someone with absolute overwhelming force here to suppress it to prevent accidents. On the way back, Arceus took advantage of Yamato's luck to choose a few more places, but her luck was not always there, and she did not find the target these times. He planned to go back to Onigashima before dealing with other things. The exit of the submerged port is still a long way from Onigashima, and it has to cross the inland sea of Wano country. However, there was a little accident on the way back, and Yamato's Aegean fell into the water. Unlike other children's sleepiness, Yamato has shown the talent of Kaido's daughter, and her energy is very strong, even making Jigglypuff feel tired. And the mace has become her favorite toy, but this time the force of the throw is a little stronger, and the mace did not bounce back, but bounced into the water. A loud cry resounded throughout the cabin. Seeing this, Mandafesh jumped into the water before anyone else could react. Kaido's daughter, Arceus' adopted daughter, and the undisputed future successor to the beasts, it would definitely be a good idea to please her as soon as possible. Chapter 154 New Bounty. It would be great if they could get along well when they were children. When Yamato grows up and takes over the beasts pirates, I'm afraid I should retire. With this relationship, I can get a good job. Although it's a bit far-fetched, Mandafesh feels that his idea makes sense, so when he sees Yamato's things fall into the water and cries, he jumps in first. When others see Mandafesh jumping into the sea, they give up this opportunity. In terms of swimming, Mandafesh is almost unmatched in the beasts pirates. Being able to go into the water gives him a great advantage in this regard. This is the most serious time that Yamato cried after being taken back to the beasts pirates by Kaido. Even Arceus was attracted to it. Jigglypuff briefly described the situation at that time and then pointed to the side of the ship. How long has Mandafesh been down there? About 5 minutes. You guys go down and see what's going on. After all, he got the ability of Magikarp. He can't drown himself by going into the water to retrieve a mace. Arceus looked at a few people casually, and then they jumped in without saying a word, but soon swam up again. After trying a few more times, the result was the same. Master Shengju, the water is too deep, we can't dive down. Yes, we swam down for a long time, and didn't see Mandafesh, and we can't see the bottom at all. I'm afraid we have to prepare diving suits. Even if they are considered to be relatively elite pirates, they are still ordinary people. They have neither the blood of fishmen nor the ability of Mandafesh. Although they can swim, few of them have practiced diving, and they can't stand it after reaching a certain depth. Fortunately, the climate in Wano country is only cold in Linghao. except for the waters near Linghao. The waters of Wano country are relatively warm, so their physical strength is still sufficient after several dives. And a few minutes later, Mandafesh floated out of the water, holding the small mace dropped by Yamato in his hand, and stepped on the water with his feet, and jumped back to the deck. After gaining the ability of water splashing, the water surface is a brand new ground for him. Master Holy Beast, there are secrets down there. Wano country is more than what it seems. What did you find? The terrain of Wano country may be man-made. Wait, bring the things over first. He took the mace from him and gave it back to Yamato. After coaxing the child, he motioned to Mandafesh to continue telling what he saw. According to Mandafesh, he jumped into the water to look for the mace that Yamato dropped. With the ability given by Arceus, he caught up with the falling mace without spending too much effort, but he seemed to see something under the water. Because he was a little curious, and Magikarp gave him the ability to breathe underwater, he went down to investigate. Are you saying that there is a flooded town below? Yes, Lord Saint Beast, and the architectural style is very similar to Wano country, or it is even older. Then I swam to the edge, and found that the cliffs around here might be their walls. According to the information brought back by Mandafesh, it seems that someone built a very tall wall to enclose this place, but due to unknown reasons, the water level rose, resulting in the current situation. But Arceus always felt that this situation was nonsense, and the situation was somewhat familiar. Shaina, is the project on Onigashima finished? Not yet. Lord Saint Beast, is there anything? Go back and ask an older person to see if there is anyone named Isama Hajime among their ancestors. Building a huge wall to wrap up their own country, this weird operation made him feel familiar, but he did not detect any sleeping life forms in the rock walls around Wano country. Not long after, Master Shengju, I have asked. The leader of the craftsmen is called Gangayao. He is considered a legendary carpenter in Wano country. However, he said that he has never heard of the surname Isayama in Wano country. Riko has not heard of such a thing either. Quinn has also asked Orochi about it indirectly, but he seems to be unaware of it. This should be a secret of Wano country. Got it. Everything is as usual. Let Mandafesh explore the underwater ruins and see what is inside. Mandafesh therefore had a new task, to explore the nearby underwater ruins. Although Quinn got several sets of diving suits, those people were still not as convenient as Mandafesh. In order not to be discovered by others, they secretly dived from Onigashima. Only Mandafesh could explore all areas freely without being affected by oxygen, so this important task was basically placed on him. 2 days later, on Onigashima, Setsuna ran as soon as he jumped off the boat, carrying a small backpack behind him, which was full of newspapers. Newsbirds will not enter Wano country, so they can only get newspapers from nearby islands, which are the outposts of the beasts outside Wano country, and external information is generally sent from there. The biggest news is naturally the Battle of Edwell. This massive battle has almost been recorded in history, and it is also one of the few battles between pirates named after battles. However, those who have little to do with the beasts, the recent challenges to the Golden Lion's territory are all newcomers. As old acquaintances, they know that the Golden Lion is still the Golden Lion, and there will be no changes due to the reduction of his subordinates. And Setsuna cares more about the 2 bounties in his hand. Lightning's Aurora, bounty of 270 million berries in Arceus, bounty of 1.19 billion berries. This is the conclusion drawn by the Navy after comprehensive analysis, directly raised from 5,000 to 1.19 billion, which is almost a huge bounty in this era. Now, those with bounties exceeding 1 billion berries are almost all the remnants of Rox and Roger's members, all heavyweights. Although Arceus had the strength to injure Sengoku, he left suddenly after gaining the upper hand, which made the Navy doubt his ability to continue fighting. Although the investigation intelligence showed that Arceus was not the tyrannical type, he was suspected to have magical special abilities, so the amount was determined after comprehensive consideration. As for the hidden one, the Navy believed that he was hiding his true identity, so he always showed himself in the form of a beast. They decided to adopt all the intelligence sent to them, and formulated this bounty order, based on the principle of no deduction for wrong writing, and extra points for correct writing. This caused Quinn to look at his bounty with a very puzzled expression. I have been farming and doing research. How come the bounty is higher than that pervert Jin? Looking at the bounty of 444.4 million, Quinn suddenly felt that it was very unlucky. Chapter 155, Kachiro, the second son of a downtrodden merchant family. However, Quinn's bounty did not attract much attention. After all, he himself did not know why he had raised the price, and it was a sudden price increase. He could not imagine that some intelligence personnel thought that he was the one who truly realized the ability to be granted, so they also raised the price for him. His bounty was higher than that of Zorora. In the eyes of the Navy, the impact he caused would be greater than that of Zorora alone. After all, he was also suspected to a certain extent. This time, Shaina's mood was very normal. Although the hidden person was not a serious title, looking at the information of the bounty, Shaina felt that she was in a good mood. This was much better than the jerk who made the bounty last time. In the world of pirates, few people would worry about the bounty, and most of them regarded it as an honor. The higher the bounty of the boss, the more excited they, the younger brothers, were. Seeing that Arceus' bounty also broke through the 1 billion mark, they were even more excited than Arceus. The previous bounty of 5,000 baileys was regarded as a shame, and the updated bounty could be regarded as an alternative honor. As for Setsuna, she had lived in Zao until she was 7 years old and had no idea about the outside world. After coming to the outside world, she was first kidnapped by an organ trafficking assassination group, and then came to the Beast's pirates, so her cognition was also influenced by the atmosphere of the Beasts. She believed that a high bounty was a certification of strength, and the photos taken by the photographer this time of Zorora were very cool, with towering hair, surrounded by thunder, and eyes full of electric light, which completely conformed to the aesthetic point of view of the fur tribe. So cool, Zorora, take me with you next time. No, unless you can hold out for 5 minutes under my hands. Then let's go on the full moon next time. If I use the moon lion, I can hold out for 5 minutes. Besides, I can give you long range support, and I'm best at bows and arrows. Setsuna has always been very confident in her bow and arrow skills, and she has the capital. She can't use a gun, and the firearms of the Beasts can't hit people in her hands at all, even with shotguns. She can be called a master of human body outlining, but her bow and arrows are very accurate, and she will never miss a target within a few hundred meters. The craftsmen of Wano country are also helping her make a longbow. There are many similar craftsmen in Wano country, except that their output cannot be compared with machines. Their handmade products are even better than machines in some aspects. Mandafesh is still exploring the mysterious underwater area of Wano country, and the development of the world has not stopped. Golden Lion used the heads of many pirates to prove to the world that, although he lost to Roger, it does not mean that he has become a weakling. In Wano country, the development of the Beasts is still continuing. The xenophobia of Wano country is a root problem. It is very difficult to solve it in a short time, so the Beasts are absorbing some locals to join the Beasts pirates. It is not to make them become pirates, nor is it just to work in the ranch and orchard of the Beasts, but to become the local partners of the Beasts in another way. Kurizumi Orochi is not interested in such trivial things. His mind is full of revenge, so the Beasts are looking for other suitable people, but they have been waiting for a long time and have not found them. They can still accept herding for the Beasts. After all, it can only be regarded as working, but cooperation is different. So in the face of the business cooperation of the Beasts, most of the local rich people and businessmen in Wano country chose to refuse. In fact, this is also related to Orochi. Although his goal is to persecute everyone, it is mainly ordinary civilians. He did not touch those daimyo and rich people. His own interests are also linked to these rich people. Moreover, the actions of the Beasts also made him doubt whether this partner can achieve his goals, so in addition to the cooperation that has been reached, he does not plan to continue to expand the cooperation. Because of the closed nature of Wano country, gold coins only flow domestically, that is to say, the funds of these people are in a closed loop flow state, and Orochi has a great influence on them. If he changes some policies, these rich people may also go bankrupt. After all, he is the nominal general. so they all obey Orochi's orders, and coupled with the national conditions of Wano country, they are not interested in the transaction of the beasts. The transaction of the beasts itself means intervening in the economy of Wano country. Although they can intervene by force, it will cause the economy of Wano country to collapse first, which is not in their own interests. Therefore, the beasts need to break this closed loop economy first and let the beasts' foreign funds flow into Wano country. The beasts have no shortage of goods. Everything from the outside world can be sold in Wano country. They lack a local businessman. After all, the people of Wano country are very strange. They are unwilling to buy things directly from the beasts, but if they are replaced by a local Wano country person, they will be excited to buy those products, so that the beasts have to change into the local people's clothes before they want to sell goods. They are pirates, and they are also not good at this kind of thing. Bargaining and sales are all embarrassing for them. They can force a businessman with force, but that will lose the original meaning. However, not everyone will refuse the beasts. No matter where they are, there will be the first person to eat crabs. On this day, a man with short purple hair owed a small boat alone to Onigashima. Now that the construction of Onigashima has been completed, the workers have returned to their homes. In Wano country, except for those who are arranged to deliver supplies here, few people will take the initiative to go to Onigashima. So when they saw that person, the members of the beasts were surprised. This guy can't row a boat, how can he use the oars like that? It's normal for people from Wano country to not row a boat, but why don't you help him? If he drowns here, it will ruin the plan of the Holy Beast Master. Not really, there's not even a little wind and waves in this place. How could he capsize? As soon as he finished speaking, he saw the man in front of him capsize his boat. What did you just say? I said to rescue him quickly. Thank you for your rescue. My name is Kajiro, the second son of an ordinary merchant family in Flower Capital. This time I came here to seek cooperation. I'm willing to sell goods for the beast pirates in Wano country. Then he didn't even have the chance to change his clothes and was brought directly to Shaina. Big sister, a merchant is willing to cooperate voluntarily. Reason, why are you willing to accept our cooperation? After searching for so long and not finding anyone, now someone came to her door. She naturally asked a question. It is like this, sir. I was born into a merchant family in the Flower Capital. My family was very wealthy, but after General Sukiyaki passed away, Kurazumi Orochi was appointed acting general. Our biggest competitor teamed up with Kurazumi Orochi to destroy our family's business. My father and mother both died of depression, and our family has declined since then. I need an opportunity to make a comeback and take revenge on them. Orochi, you should know that we were brought in by Orochi. Yes, sir, I know about this, so I came here now, because I think your deal with Kurazumi Orochi is not that close, and what you do is fundamentally inconsistent with Orochi's purpose. These were all his speculations. Although he had no conclusive evidence, he was already desperate. No one in Wano was willing to help him, so he could only place his hopes on outsiders. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, Kajiro's Ambition. He is from a family of merchants. His father asked him to learn all kinds of things since he was a child. Even if Wano country is closed to the outside world, it is a big deal to do business in this country. The mutual flow of products between the 6 villages and the consumption capacity of the people must be studied thoroughly. It was fine before Kurazumi Orochi started to act, but during this period, Kurazumi Orochi's behavior was full of weirdness. He changed the prices of items at will. Recently, there are more coins circulating in the market of Wano country, and many of them are new coins. If Wano country's currency did not remain in metal currency and there was no foreign trade, the impact would be even greater. He is not the only merchant who has been hit. Almost all those who choose to join forces with Kurazumi Orochi in various industries have defeated their competitors by various improper methods and achieved a monopoly position. In Kajiro's view, Kurazumi Orochi's behavior is challenging the limit. As long as there is an opportunity, the economy of Wano country will collapse completely. This behavior became more and more obvious around Flower City. The wealth gap began to widen. Only the rich could survive in Flower City. Many families who relied on small businesses were forced to leave Flower City and settle in nearby villages and towns. In other areas, because several daimyo each had jurisdiction over their own townships, this trend was less common, but the economy of Wano country was originally a whole, and Flower City was the economic center. Under its influence, other areas were inevitably affected, and the beasts played an extremely special role here. They were close to Kurozumi Orochi. It seemed that there was some agreement that they would help Kurozumi Orochi build a factory, but there seemed to be contradictions in the details. Those orchards and pastures were meant to be long-term, which was completely different from Kurozumi Orochi's policy. He had observed for a long time that Kurozumi Orochi neither supported nor opposed these behaviors of the beasts. Or rather, he did not dare to oppose it openly. He had never seen anyone from Orochi dare to directly intervene in the affairs of the beasts. That is to say, the beasts have something that makes Kurozumi Orochi afraid. Even if he has an active mind, he has never left Wano country. A frog in a well cannot imagine the vastness of the sky, so he can only make a rough guess. This time, coming here alone is a gamble, because he can see that the beasts also want to intervene in the economy of Wano country, and the beasts will get involved sooner or later. If others cannot accept it, they will eventually be abandoned, because the beasts have too great an advantage. For example, the problem of oxen. He knows that the beasts pirates raise 2 special cattle. The labor force of those 3-tailed monster cattle is at least 10 times that of ordinary cattle, and they are also stronger and even smarter. They can understand the orders of their masters. In actual operation, a Quintero can do the work of more than 20 ordinary oxen, and the price of renting them out by the beasts pirates is the same as that of ordinary cattle. Now most people are afraid of those monster cattle, but some people have begun to try. At that time, they can open up more arable land or free up their hands to do some other livelihoods. When the neighbors saw this, if they didn't want to be completely left behind, then learning from their behavior and renting Quintero was the best way. He had also seen the goods sold by the beasts, many of which were novel things that had never been seen in China, and the market was very broad. As long as the problem of xenophobia in Wano country was solved, the rest of the things would be easy to solve. He was betting that he was not wrong. If he had guessed wrong about the relationship between the beasts pirates and Kurozumi Orochi, then the result would not be so good. However, after he finished explaining his reasons, he did not get an immediate reply. Shaina gestured to the 2 pirates, and they left here. After a long wait, the 2 who left returned here again. Big sister, check it out. What he said is true. The beasts pirates are indeed looking for a local merchant, but it's not to the point where just anyone will do. Kajiro's reasons are very sufficient, but Shaina did not believe it immediately, but sent someone to Wano country to check it out. It doesn't take much time for the spies left in the roving camp to find out this kind of news. As long as what he said is true, then the news of the merchant's bankruptcy can easily become a joke among people. After all, his father is just a businessman, not a good man. There are many people who hate the rich and see him in misfortune. They will only feel happy, not sad. How many people do you need? There are a few trustworthy old people in the family. We don't need many people in the early stage. As long as the people of Orochi don't stop us, it will be fine. You two will follow him in the future. Remember to bring a flag and take out the flag when you meet Orochi's people. Shaina looked at the 2 people who brought Kajiro and gave him new orders. Kajiro, who has received the support of the beasts pirates, has already thought of a plan for the future. He has to take back the lost things by himself. By the way, you are a smart man. It's better not to do something stupid. Before he left, Shaina gave him a piece of advice, or a warning. His family was already penniless. The beasts pirates meant that he only needed to sell the goods and didn't need to worry about other things, but he refused because he knew that it was not difficult to find a seller. Now it was because Wano country was xenophobic. When they got used to the existence of the beast pirates, their existence became dispensable. So he had to show his value before the beasts were recognized by the public. so that the beasts would understand that they had abilities that others could not do. He borrowed a sum of money from the beasts, used the money to buy a batch of goods from the beasts, and said that he would always pay for the goods first in the future. Interesting. Let's see what his ability is. If he is good, the beast's fruits are still short of excellent people. If he is trustworthy, absorb him in. He is also a talent. Looking at the situation reported by Shaina, Arceus gave new instructions. Today's beast still lacks some professional talents. Although it has gone bankrupt, his family was once a big businessman in Wano country, and his family emblem still has a certain reputation in Wano country. A few days later, he started his business journey from scratch with a cart like an ordinary small vendor. The two beasts followed him, which did help him avoid the trouble of Kirizumi Orochi. Orochi was very good at forbearance. Although the actions of the beast's pirates were different from what he expected, he also used the force of the beasts to do many things that he could not do before. Since Kaido did not agree, he did not dare to say directly that this was Kaido's intention, but he deliberately acted recklessly, which made those daimyos a little afraid of him. Chapter 157 Kinemon's Plan. Without the daimyo stopping them, ordinary citizens of Wano country naturally had no ability to resist. In fact, these daimyo were somewhat confused about the situation. After all, there seemed to be an agreement between the beast's pirates and Kirizumi Orochi. Kirizumi Orochi helped Kaido build Onigashima, and Kaido also forcibly built many factories in Rabbit Bowl in the name of Orochi, but sometimes the beast's actions were completely opposite to Orochi's, giving people the feeling of a schizophrenic patient. Kajiro's business was going well. With the rare goods from the outside world and his eloquence, he quickly paid off the first loan of the beasts, and brought in more goods. Orochi's men did not stop Kajiro because of the beast's pirates, but other merchants were not necessarily so, especially the merchant who bankrupted Kajiro's family. He did not believe that Kajiro would let him go after his comeback, so he took gifts to find Kirizumi Orochi, hoping that he could get rid of Kajiro, but he did not expect that Kirizumi Orochi would accept the gifts, but not do anything. He accepted all the gifts, but had no intention of solving the problem. He could get some answers the first 2 times he asked, but after a few more times he couldn't even see anyone. In this case, he made a new choice, which was to spend money to find some troublemakers. Some time ago, Beishao cleaned up the street thugs and arrested many people who liked to stir up trouble and sent them to the mines to dig, which made the streets quiet for a long time. The remaining thugs hid when they saw that the situation was not good, but after a period of time, they had to come out to find their own business. The reason why they were called thugs was that they had no fixed jobs and did not have much savings. It was okay for a short time, but they could not survive for a long time. So for money, several thugs took on the task of destroying Kajiro's stall. They had done this before. After all, the protection fee for the stall was their main source of income. Although the underworld boss of Flower Capital is Bingoro, nicknamed Flower Bingoro, not all thugs are his subordinates. About 200 people will obey his orders, and these people do not live on the protection fees they get from bullying ordinary vendors. Hayagoro himself is very friendly to the people, and he also has a good reputation in Wano country. These small hooligans do not have the opportunity to join Hayagoro directly. Wano country has a very strict hierarchy in this regard. As for the laws of Wano country, they are just minor fights, and they will be locked up for 3 or 4 days at most. After they come out, they will become even worse, so most people choose to spend money to avoid disaster. After Orochi came to power, this kind of thing became more frequent. The last cleansing of the beasts not only supplemented the laborers in the mine, but also gave the civilians of Wano country a preliminary understanding of the beasts. As for those hooligans who were reformed by labor, they are now living a fulfilling life in the Rabbit Bowl mine. Recently, the work system there has been improved, because some pirates who were captured after being defeated in the outside world were also sent here. Those defeated captives are still different from these hooligans. Those prisoners of war are at the bottom of the society, and their jobs are far away, while these hooligans at least have a prison term, and they have a meager living security deposit in their accounts. If you don't work, you won't even have food to eat. On the contrary, working hard can not only improve your living conditions, but also reduce your sentence. After that, no one has been sent to the mine for a while, but today there are new people there, these gangsters who are causing trouble. Not only did Kirizumi Orochi take the money, but not do the work, but he didn't even tell the merchant the reason. He did it on purpose, hoping to provoke conflicts between the beast's pirates and the local residents. Only in this way can they achieve their goals. Faced with this situation, the beast's people naturally sent these people to the mine very unceremoniously, but not all of them. One person took advantage of the chaos and ran away, and ran to Kuri. Hyagoro is not his boss, but he has his own boss. Now, Kazuki Oden's retainer, Kinemon, used to be his boss. Although Kinemon was born in Kuri, he was a gangster in the flower capital when he was young, and he was also a famous gangster. Naturally, he also had a group of subordinates, but as he joined Kazuki Oden, these subordinates had less contact with him. After all, he is already a samurai, and can't continue to live the same way as before. In the past, those people would not come to him if there was nothing wrong, but this time is different. Although the beast's pirates took those gangsters away in the name of labor reform, and they really made them labor reform, the connection between the rabbit bowl mine and the outside world was cut off, and the people who were caught in it also lost contact with the outside world. Rumors are the most terrible things. Some words change as they are passed on. In rumors, the rabbit bowl mine has become a very scary place. This made him at a loss when he saw other people being taken away, so he had to come to Kinemon for help. Brother Kinemon. It's bad, as who and the others were all taken away by the beasts. What did you say? What's going on? It's like this, we took on some small business like before. Didn't I tell you not to do that anymore? He used to be a gangster, so he naturally knew what their business meant. We can't do anything else, right? Big brother, listen to me. He told all the things that happened before, and also told the rumors. The implication was that Kinemon should think of a way to get them out. In fact, he could ignore it, but after all, these people were once his younger brothers, and they always thought that the beast's pirates had bad intentions, so he decided to think of a way. He didn't tell anyone else about this, because he thought it was his private matter. After thinking about it, he had a very unique idea. He found a leaf and put it on his head. Then, with a puff of smoke, his clothes turned into the clothes of the beast's pirates, and he had sunglasses and a fake beard on his face. He planned to pretend to be a member of the beast's pirates to get his former younger brother out. Before coming to Wano country, the beast's pirates had their own uniform clothes. Except for the Kadas, the clothing styles of ordinary members were similar to a certain extent. And Kinemon was able to do this because of his own fruit ability, the superhuman style Fufu fruit, which can freely change his clothes according to his own imagination. His idea was very beautiful. There were thousands of beasts pirates in Wano country, and it was impossible for everyone to know each other. This gave him the opportunity to fish in troubled waters. However, his ideal was beautiful, but the reality was cruel. Chapter 158, Exposed Kinemon. Kinemon did not take any direct action, but observed the situation near the rabbit bowl mine. Members of the beast's pirates often came and went here, and there seemed to be no regularity. Occasionally, people inside would be taken away, and some would be sent in. This was a kind of work rotation. Prisoners with good performance would be rotated to work in the factory, where the work was much easier than in the mine, and there was no sun exposure. Similarly, some people who made mistakes in the factory would be punished here, but Kinemon was not aware of this. At the same time, he also found that there were no Kirizumi Orochi's men here at all. All those who came in and out were members of the beast's pirates. This was also one of the few places that Kaido had completely controlled. The Seaston vein was very important, and he did not intend to let Orochi manage it. Orochi also knew that without Kaido, he could not intervene here, so he acquiesced to this matter. This was the information Kinemon collected. Then he changed himself into a stone-like camouflage uniform and quietly lurked near the mining site to eavesdrop on the information, mainly the name of the guard. It was not too difficult for him to do such a thing. He still had some strength. Although the members brought by the beasts were the elite among the pirates, they were just stronger soldiers, and there was still a gap compared to Kinemon. He was also a famous gangster in Wano country. If you want to be a gangster in Wano country, you must have some strength. If you can't defeat others, you can't get followers, and you can't get respect from others. If Kazuki Oden was not strong, and had the identity of the Kazuki family, he would have died countless times for what he did. Kinemon was a famous gangster in the past few years. He has been learning constantly in the past few years. His strength is still much stronger than that of ordinary members. After he confirmed some information, he started his own plan. He changed into the uniform of the Beast's pirates again, dealt with some details, and then walked over carelessly. "Hey, Reddy, you're on duty again." "Yeah. Who are you?" I'm Nate. We drank together at the banquet the day before yesterday. Have you forgotten?" Just as he guessed, the biggest difference between a large pirate group and a small pirate group is the number of people. It's impossible for the people in the group to recognize everyone. Only those iconic carders can be known by everyone. He pretended to be familiar with the other party and accurately said the name and some things. These were all the information he had just heard. He was good at things like swindling. In this case, Reddy really thought he remembered the wrong person. At this time, it would be embarrassing to say that he didn't know the other person, so he agreed. "Yes, you. We said we would drink together next time." This kind of person should be an acquaintance, but he was not very familiar with him, so in his opinion, he should have met him by chance when he was drinking last time. The banquet was a time of revelry, so it was normal to meet a drinking buddy. "Well, I'll go in first." Go ahead. He didn't check anything. He was a little lax in this regard. After all, few ordinary people would go near the rabbit bowl mine. He didn't expect someone to be so bold as to come here with the idea of robbing the prison. After entering the mine, he saw the sweaty prisoners and the supervisors who supervised them. After searching for a while, he also saw his former brothers. It happened that someone was leaving here with 2 people. "I'm going to take them to investigate the information. This is the hand order of Lord Babanuki." A member of the Beasts came to the mine, pointed at the 2 prisoners, and took out a piece of paper. After seeing it, the supervisor opened the prisoner's handcuffs without checking it, and this also let Kinemon know who the manager here is. He had successfully sneaked in here, and the people inside naturally would not question people who were not handcuffed and in uniform. He casually asked a lone person, "Have you seen Lord Babanuki? I didn't find him just now." Isn't Lord Babanuki upstairs? Maybe I just missed him. I'll go check again." The chief guard here was handed over to Babanuki, and the harbor was handed over to others. The so-called upstairs was the room where the supervisors rested. They definitely didn't live with the prisoners. "Lord Babanuki, I have been ordered to take away the new prisoners for interrogation." "Again? Why are you so diligent in asking for help recently?" Originally, Babanuki just complained casually, but Kinemon's next sentence directly exposed his identity. "I don't know either. It's just Brother Kaido's request." As soon as he said this, Babanuki paused and then swung his fist to hit Kinemon. The table in front of him was overturned by him, and the documents on the table flew into the air. The fist made the papers fly everywhere, but he failed to hit Kinemon. He jumped to the side nimbly when he saw the fist coming, and Babanuki's fist hit the ground directly. The fragments of the wooden floor flew everywhere, and Kinemon didn't seem to realize that he had been exposed. He thought that he had violated his taboo inadvertently. "Lord Babanuki, what are you doing? Did I do something wrong? Stop pretending, you bastard. You dare to pretend to be a member of the Beasts. You are very brave." The reason why Kinemon was exposed was very simple. He said it was Kaido's request, because Arceus didn't show up much on weekdays. The people of Wano country only knew Kaido's existence, but didn't know Arceus's position in the Beasts Pirates. Everyone in the Beasts Pirates knew that Kaido had left Wano country a few days ago and had not returned yet. Even if Kaido hadn't left, he was not in charge of the mining field, but Arceus was handling it. To say that this was Kaido's request, it must be fake. Kinemon could not have imagined that the internal management of the Beasts Pirates was such a special situation. But even if he hadn't said this, he would still be exposed if he couldn't produce the procedures for picking up people. Although it was easy to get in here, it was not so easy to take people away. Seeing that he was exposed, Kinemon removed his disguise. He had always carried his sword with him, but it was not exposed because of the disguise of the fufu fruit. Seeing Kinemon's true face, Babanuki was also surprisingly angry. The beast's pirates had been going smoothly since they came to Wano country, but now they were actually deceived by someone, so his body began to swell and gradually turned into the appearance of a giant ape. It was not the primitive man fruit, but the transformation form obtained like Mandafesh, the King of Leave. Chapter 159, The King of Leaves Cut Gun. Kinemon is severely injured. After Mandafesh, Babanuki also successfully obtained new rewards with his super strength. Although he did not get the ability to breathe underwater like Mandafesh, he was much better than him in the types of rewards he got. Compared with Magikarp, who was not strong in his own ability and could only open a basic one, and the rest depended on training, King Asking for Leave had extremely excellent attack power and physical strength. With Babanuki's super strength, he could exert the terrifying power to the extreme. White mane appeared around Babanuki's neck, and his already tall figure was raised again. Then he punched Kinemon again. Although he failed to hit him directly, the aftermath of hitting the ground also knocked him out. That was the terrifying power contained in King Asking for Leave's body. The temporary house was blown down by a punch, and the supervisors in the mine immediately responded when they saw this. Everyone, if you don't want to die, go back to your cell immediately. He fired a few shots into the sky with a gun, and the gangsters who were caught returned to their cells under threat. Some other people had already rushed to Babanuki's room, and just happened to see Kinemon, who was hit and flew out. Because of the aftermath, Kinemon's body was not affected at all, and his physique was not bad. In the future, he would be a man who could take Kaido's attack and stand up. At that time, he was sent to the future by the 222 fruit, which means that he did not undergo much training in those 20 years. It can be said that this is a kind of talent. Lord Babanuki, it's an invader, don't let him run away. Babanuki walked out of the smoke and dust. The ability of the King of Leave is very powerful, but there is only one drawback, that is, the laziness of the King of Leave. After attacking, the King of Leave will enter a resting stage. It is not just resting, but accumulating strength. This is the biggest drawback of the King of Leave. There is a certain gap in attack. After training, this gap will become shorter and shorter, but now Babanuki has not yet overcome the ability of this gap, but he has found another way. Although he will be affected in the beast form and the human beast form, he will not be affected in the human form, so he has developed this unique mode, which Arceus calls the gun switching mode. As we all know, in FPS games, the reloading speed of heavy snipers is extremely slow. In order to reduce this gap, people will use the main and secondary weapon switching to shorten this time. Babanuki uses a human form to get through the stiffness period by switching the state. Although he will be much weaker without the ability, Kinemon has not reached his peak period. At this time, it will take 2 years before Kazuki Oden returns to his country. Babanuki, who has obtained the ability of the King of Leave, has greatly strengthened his own strength, and it is not a problem to deal with Kinemon during this period. Although he will be weaker when he returns to human form, this is the rabbit bowl mining field, and now it is the territory of the beasts. Kinemon is not facing a Babanuki, but a group of people. Catch him alive and see what he wants to do. As the first opponent to take the initiative to provoke the beast's pirates, after they arrived in Wano country, they did not use guns, but rushed up waving weapons. This was not a one-on-one duel. It would be foolish not to use the advantage of numbers. And for some reason, Kinemon felt that these pirates who rushed up were a little crazy. He did not understand the system of the beast's pirates. Strength determines status, and merits are awarded. If you want to get more, you have to work harder. The rules made by Arceus and RC are a big restriction for pirates, but no one refuses, because it is an absolute crushing of status and strength. If you want to join the beasts, you must follow this rule. Because the beasts not only have rules, but also rewards. And those rewards are what all pirates are tempted by. As the first person to make trouble, Kinemon is just a lottery ticket in their eyes. Damn it, Foxfire style. Draw the sword and slash. Looking at the people rushing up, Kinemon did not give up resistance. He was called Foxfire Kinemon because of his swordsmanship. With 2 swords drawn out, Flames ignited on the blades. Kinemon parried the first attack and then swung his sword to injure another person, but this did not stop the next pirate. It was just the ability to use fire, and the people of the beast's pirates were already accustomed to it. Even if he cut down the first few people who rushed up, the people behind him still attacked him one after another. He wanted to break out, but the guards of the rabbit bowl quarry did not intend to give him this opportunity. The gate had already fallen and sealed, and Babanuki's gun-cutting state had also ended. He once again transformed into the human beast posture of the King of Leave. Get out of the way. The ground was full of cracks under the sudden attack, and Babanuki's figure burst out. Although the King of Leave looked lazy when he took action, the explosive power was amazing. Hearing Babanuki's shouts, the people around him scattered. The members of the beast's pirates were basically assigned according to small cadres like Babanuki. They were responsible for leading ordinary pirates, and the pirates under their command rarely changed. Because he was not familiar with his boss's fighting style, he was likely to cause trouble in the battle. Seeing Babanuki rushing towards him, Kinemon also swung his sword at him. However, unexpectedly, Babanuki neither dodged nor used domineering, but took the two swords he swung, and then hugged Kinemon. "I got you, bastard." Then a strange wave flashed on Babanuki's body. Then there was a scream, and two deep knife wounds appeared on Kinemon's body. Double payback, double return of physical damage received. There are two sources of skills for Pokemon ability users. One is given by Arceus. In this regard, he is an all-purpose move machine. He can master the skills of the existing slate attribute and give them to the right people. The other is to improve oneself with the training of the ability user, so as to comprehend new skills. It can be regarded as an alternative fruit development. Double payback is the skill that Babanuki comprehended by himself, and it wasn't over yet. Before he entered a lazy state, Babanuki, who was holding Kinemon in his arms, used his super strength. A crisp sound followed, which was the sound of bones breaking. His arm bones, ribs, and even his spine were damaged. Kinemon fainted under this blow. "Lord Babanuki, didn't you say to capture him alive? He's not dead, right? Send him to Brother Jin. Tell him that we caught a rebel, and let Brother Jin do the interrogation." Babanuki took the bandage handed to him by his men and skillfully wrapped it around himself a few times. It seems that this is not the first time he has done double payback. Chapter 160 The Betrayer. Babanuki, who finished the battle, looked a little lazy. This was also the effect of the ability of the King of Leave. Although he was strong, his strength would be limited due to laziness in continuous fighting. This was also the reason why he served as a guard. His ability was more suitable for fighting in his own field. Although his ability had side effects, it could not cover up the strength of his ability. Besides, it was reasonable that the ability of the warden had some side effects. Although he ordered people to be sent to Onigashima, he did not do nothing. The defeated pirate captives continued to be sent to work, while the local gangsters in Wano country were gathered together. "Everyone, we are old acquaintances. After such a long time of getting along, I believe none of you are dissatisfied, right?" Babanuki's words made these people a little angry, but no one refuted. They were all gangsters. Bullying the weak and fearing the strong was their nature. The so-called chivalrous and righteous could only be found in one or two gangsters in the whole Wano country. Most gangsters use this as an excuse to cover up the fact that they bullied the weak and feared the strong, and brought disaster to the countryside. Compared with these hooligans, the strength of the guards at the rabbit bowl mine was overwhelming. Any resistance would only lead to suffering. On the contrary, if they worked hard to reform themselves, they could change jobs or be released. Although it was rare, there were indeed two model workers who had regained their freedom, and their hard work made them understand the value of freedom. After returning home, they became much more honest. The neighbors were all surprised by this, and the rabbit bowl mine became a new reason for adults to scare children. Seeing that no one stood up to find fault, Babanuki smiled with satisfaction. Today, an intruder appeared here. I don't believe he broke in here for no reason. No one would come to this place for an outing, and he just said that he would recommend a few newcomers to go out, so the result was obvious. Among your newcomers, some have a relationship with him. Whoever can report this matter will get 3 days of vacation and meat. There is only one quota. He gestured to his subordinates, and Kinemon, who was chained to a wooden cart, was pulled around the field for a week, so that these people could see his face clearly. Although Babanuki was confident that he had severely injured him, it could be seen from the fact that he was not dead, yet that his vitality was very tenacious. In order to prevent him from waking up halfway, Babanuki ordered other pirates to lock him up with chains made of seastone. Seastone is very rare in the outside world, but in Wano country, seastone is a very common material, but the forging process is difficult. Moreover, Babanuki believed that Kinemon was a person with special abilities. Whether it was the smoke that appeared on his body when he changed his clothes before, or his ability to ignite flames on his sword, Babanuki felt that something was wrong. He locked him up just in case. Although Jin was an expert in torture, he had to find out the basic information before sending him away. His name is Kinemon. His name is Kinemon, known as Foxfire Kinemon. And now he is a retainer of Kazuki Oden. His wife is called A, and she lives in Kiribara town and runs a tea house on weekdays. One of them just recognized Kinemon, but before he could finish his words, someone next to him said it first. Hey, aren't you his former subordinate? So what? That was in the past. He also betrayed Kinemon, but his former subordinate was faster than anyone else, and he said more things because he was familiar with Kinemon. Because he had been caught here for a while, he couldn't escape, and of course he didn't want to give up any chance to leave here. Very good, very good. Reward him, and move this person to the most tiring position. Looking at the quarreling gangsters, Babanuki ordered the reward to be given to the gangster who spoke first, and then the younger brother who betrayed Kinemon was moved to the most difficult position. Why? Didn't you say? And all he got was a whip from the guard. I reiterate that only the first person to speak can get the reward, and answering quickly is invalid. And the most important point of this rabbit bowl mining field is that here, I am the boss. He came to save you, and you scum who betrayed the big brother should work here until you die. Then under his order, these people continued to work, and Kinemon was sent to Onigashima along with his identity information. Brother Jin, this is it. He sneaked into the rabbit bowl mine, and was later caught by Chief Warden Babanuki. Here is his personal information. Got it? Send him inside, and let Nakin deal with him first. Jin gave new instructions, after touching Kinemon's body for a few times, and confirming his injuries. Nakin has shown her value over the years. Except for not officially joining the Beast's Pirates, she is no different from the members of the Beast's Pirates. However, she is very determined in this regard, and has been working hard to save money and wait for Wall to come back. Kinemon's condition obviously cannot withstand torture, so he asked Nakin to deal with him. Nakin and Quinn can be said to represent the two roots of Chinese medicine and Western medicine in the Beast's Pirates today, and they have made considerable achievements in their respective fields. Nakin just does not have the right to command the Beast's combat members and know the core plan. Information like Kinemon's body still does not need to be hidden from her. She simply used some drugs to keep him alive, and then took a look at the intelligence sent over. Haven't we already found out what we should have? Why are you still interrogating me? Sometimes, interrogation is not about getting results. I just need the process. Jin moved his hands, and then took out various strange shaped things. However, with just a glance, Nakin could see their effects. They can cause great pain without destroying the human body. Jin's research in this area is probably more comprehensive than her as a doctor. Have you taken the herbs I prescribed for you before? You really need to be conditioned. I don't know how you persisted, but ordinary people like you would have gone crazy a long time ago. Ordinary people would have died a long time ago. You don't have to worry about it. As long as those guys are still alive and well, I will be fine. But your medicine does have some effect. Before leaving, Jin began to admit this. Nakin is good at herbal medicine. She doesn't see results so quickly on many things, but she is very good at conditioning. She believes that Jin and Shaina both have certain mental illnesses. It will not work if they are not controlled and allowed to develop, so she prescribed conditioning drugs for them. Of course, this method is only a temporary solution, and not a cure for the disease. It is not much different from their usual venting therapy. Only they can cure themselves, and the specific medicine for this disease exists on the Red Soil continent. Chapter 161 The Great Snake's Way to Death Never Stops. Master Seer, this is the news from Wano Country today. You should take a look. Didn't I tell you that you can just handle it? You don't have to report everything. The affairs of Wano Country are very complicated, and most of them are trivial matters. If you handle them all yourself, you won't have to do anything else in the whole day. So after a period of distribution, most of the affairs of Wano Country were assigned to different cadres. While Kaido ran out to be a hands-off boss, he was also reducing his burden. Of course, the final result of this is that Arceus' hair volume has decreased significantly, and Akin has begun to prescribe him a prescription for anti-hair loss. Master Seer, this is a new situation. Someone is making trouble in the mine. Jin is dealing with him. What do you think will happen in the end? Kinemon really has no secrets worth digging out. The purpose of his going to the Uden mine has been found out, but it is still unclear whether he will be executed or released, or thrown into the mine to mine. Give him a lesson, and send him to the mines. He should be very good at work, if he is so energetic. To Arceus, Kinemon was just an ordinary little person, but a phone call changed his mind. A snail came out of its shell. After Shaina answered the phone, a female voice sounded. It was the person left in the game room by the beasts. Big sister, the latest news is that Kurozumi Orochi is spreading the news that Kazuki Oden's retainer Kinemon provoked the beast's pirates, so he is about to be executed by us. It has almost spread throughout the flower capital. Kurozumi Orochi is the current acting general of Wano Country after all. He has more spies in Wano Country, and he soon learned about what happened in the Rabbit Bowl mine. Although his people failed to enter the Rabbit Bowl mine, the little brother who was looking for Kinemon was still outside. Orochi has an elite ninja unit called Orochi Oniwa Banshu under his command. They are very powerful, and it is easy for them to catch a small gangster. After learning about this, Orochi was very happy, because the beast's pirates finally had a head-on conflict with Kazuki Oden, which was what he wanted to see the most. If the beasts killed Kazuki's retainers, then things would become irreconcilable, so he wanted to further intensify the conflict, with the goal of letting the two sides fight directly. He knew that this trick would not work on the beast's pirates, and they obviously had irrational leadership. His target was the retainers of other Kazuki families. If this news got out, then those people from the Kazuki family would probably go directly to jailbreak and have a bigger conflict with the beasts. Although the beast's pirate's style of doing things was different from what he thought, there was one thing, that is, the beast's pirates would not allow anyone to confront them head-on. As long as it came to that point, even for their own face, the beasts would not tolerate it. Black Shark Whole Snake. Master Holy Beast, let me kill him. He who deceived you does not deserve to live in this world, let alone now. When Shaina later learned the details, she almost went straight to the Flower City to kill. Now Black Shark Whole Snake wants to sit on the mountain and watch the fight between the two tigers, which in her opinion is a way to die. Don't be impatient, he still has some value. The complete replacement of the ruling class of Wano Country depends on him. But this method is too naive. The news was spread by Kurozumi Orochi. What does it have to do with us? It's just to let the people of Wano Country understand that, although we were brought in by Kurozumi Orochi, we are ourselves, not Orochi's thugs. Shaina, you go there in person. You don't have to do anything else. Just prevent the other retainers of the Kazuki family from leaving Kuri. As long as they can't cause trouble, we have the final say on how it ends. Yes, sir. What about Kinemon? Let him live. It happens that Quinn complains that there is not enough arable land. Doesn't the Kazuki family have a nice farm in Kuri? Let them use that as an atonement. Kuri used to be a lawless place, but it returned to the right track under the management of Kazuki Oden, so the Kazuki family has a deep influence there. Because his retainers believed that the beasts had bad intentions, they mobilized some people to resist the beasts' pirates, which resulted in them sometimes not being able to find people at the farm in Kuri, and they had to recruit from other towns. The farm that was chosen was an important industry in Kuri, and many people worked there. If they gave up the job, their families would have to bear the cost. For ordinary people, the beasts mostly adopted a conciliatory policy. As long as these people understood the benefits of the beasts, some people would naturally change their views over time, and then the contradiction would be transferred from external contradictions to family contradictions. As more and more people accepted the beasts, this contradiction would gradually disappear. Then a letter similar to a judgment notice was sent to Kinamon's home. At the same time, as Orochi expected, the rest of the Kazuki family heard the news that Kinamon was going to be executed, and everyone seemed very angry. I've said it before, the beast's pirates are not good people. Kinamon. The remaining retainers of Kazuki Oden gathered together at this time. They had received the news, or it was hard not to receive the news. After all, one of the people who stayed here was named Kanjuro, whose full name was Kurazumi Kanjuro. He was an undercover sent by Kurazumi Orochi to Kazuki Oden, and the news was originally brought back by him. What should we do? Should we watch them execute Kinamon? Of course not. By the way, Ashura Daoji, after Lord Oden left, he went back to the mountain to deal with those bandits. If we can bring them out, we should be able to snatch Kinamon back. I heard that Kaido is very strong. Many people may die. Then let Kinamon die. Kanjuro's mission as an undercover agent was to provoke opposition, so at the beginning he suggested to rob the execution ground and snatch people, and then everyone hid back to the mountain together, waiting for Kazuki Oden to come back. The one who was worried about too many casualties was Okaku, whose real name was Kikunojo, also known as Kanksu Kikunojo. As a man, he looked more like a woman than a woman. If he were in another place, this would be a transvestite plus a transgenderist, a complete political correctness. He was gentle at heart, and too gentle, and was also a little indecisive in battle. That's not what I meant. Before the matter was settled, these people had already started quarreling, but under Kanjuro's deliberate guidance, they decided to go and snatch Kinamon out directly. Even without Kanjuro, they would not sit and watch Kinamon die, but Kanjuro made them more impulsive. However, before they could leave, another person came over, not Shaina, but the white dance daimyo, Shimotsuki Yasu. Chapter 162, Frost Moon Kang Family. Orochi worked very hard to spread rumors, and the result was that not only ordinary people knew about it, but other daimyo also heard the news. Wano country is also a big country among the countries on the Grand Line, but if something big happened, it would spread all over the country very quickly. Although there was no news bird, arrows could be sent between villages. Not to mention that due to the hidden port, Shimotsuki Yasu had a lot of dealings with the beasts. Moreover, among the many daimyo, he had the best relationship with the Kazuki family. There was a rumor that, if Sukiyaki had no son, then Shimotsuki Yasu would be the next general. And Shimotsuki Yasu also helped the Kazuki family a lot. At the beginning, Kazuki Oden was like an idiot, and was cheated of all his money by Kurazumi Orochi in a few words. Therefore, his retainers ran to Shimotsuki Yasu's house to steal money. The result was naturally discovered, but Shimotsuki Yasu did not pursue it. Instead, he gave them money and paid to help them learn etiquette knowledge, allowing them to grow up from all walks of life. In the years since Kazuki Oden left, if it weren't for his help, the Kuri region would probably be in chaos. Kazuki Oden's retainers can handle small matters, but none of them are reliable in big matters. At this stage, the beasts have established farms in Kuri and Hakume. Seeing what happened in his jurisdiction, Shimotsuki Yasu did not stop it, because he could see that the beast's behavior was good for the people of Hakume. After hearing the news from Orochi, he knew that things were not that simple. Anyone with a discerning eye in Wano country could see that the beast's pirates and Kurazumi Orochi were in harmony, but not in harmony. They could guess that Kurazumi Orochi's original purpose was to use Kaido's force to deal with them, but in the end he seemed to have gone too far. The beasts had their own ideas, and to a large extent they conflicted with Kurazumi Orochi's ideas. Because of their familiarity, Kazuki Oden and Shimotsuki Yasu said a lot of things. If the arrival of the beasts could really change the living conditions of the residents of Wano country, then he would not be very resistant. But when he saw the news spread by Orochi, he immediately knew that something was wrong. According to the character of Oden's retainers, they would probably really come to his door. This kind of execution of Kinamon was not in line with the style of the beast's pirates after they came to Wano country. In addition, it was Orochi's confidants who spread the rumors. He felt that there was a big problem. It was still early for the date announced by Orochi. In order to prevent them from being too impulsive and doing something, Shimotsuki Yasu immediately came to Odin Castle in Kuri. The moment he saw these people, he knew he was right. What are you going to do? Master Kang, we are going to save Kinemon. Just you few? The beast's pirates came here with at least 1,000 people, and there are also Kurizumi Orochi's men. Where do you get the confidence to attack thousands of people? What have you learned over the years? And don't you pay attention to the situation in Wano country at all? If they knew more, they would not believe the so-called information of executing Kinemon. Just when Shimotsuki Yasu was teaching them a lesson, I also ran here. She received the letter sent by the beasts, but she had never experienced such a thing before, and was a little overwhelmed for a moment, so she had to come here. Master Kanjia, everyone, someone sent me this thing. As she said that, she took out the letter from the beasts. Kinemon pretended to be a member of the beasts' pirates, and broke into the rabbit bowl mine with the intention of robbing the prison. In the process, he injured 7 guards, and destroyed a house. He was sentenced to work in the mine for 20 years. Attached to the back was a series of bills, including the medical expenses required for the people injured by Kinemon, the cost of building a house, and his own medical expenses. Of course, there was also the most critical description of the atonement. Sufficient compensation can reduce the sentence. Sure enough, they didn't want to kill Kinemon at all. You almost fell into the trap of Orochi. You can't see such a straightforward thing. You are really naive. Shimotsuki Kanjia was very intimidating to them. A group of people were like children seeing a teacher. They were scolded by Shimotsuki Kanjia and couldn't raise their heads. Kanjiro is no exception. Although he is an undercover agent, undercover agents are the most loyal under extremely special circumstances. Before getting a new mission, they will do their best to gain the trust of the target. Kanjiro is in this state now. Moreover, he is very keen on role-playing, and has already completely replaced the identity of Kazuka's retainer, Master Kanjia, Kinemon. Don't be anxious, this matter can probably be settled with money. Go and raise money to redeem Kinemon first. Other things have to wait for Odin to come back. Whether it is Kurizumi Orochi or the Beast's pirates, they are difficult characters for them to deal with. The Beast's pirates are because of their strength, and Kurizumi Orochi is because he is the general. Wano country attaches great importance to the position of general. If there is no orthodoxy of Kazuki Odin, some people may not support them. Orochi's current actions have not broken their bottom line, so they need to wait for Kazuki Odin to come back. And there is another thing that Shimotsuki Yasu is worried about. The interests of the Beast's pirates and Kurizumi Orochi are different. If this kind of thing really leads to the Beasts and Kurizumi Orochi completely unifying their fronts, Kaido's military force plus the name of General Orochi will really ruin Wano country. In the end, Shimotsuki Yasu only took Denjiro with him. First of all, it was because Denjiro and Kinemon were very familiar with each other. They had known each other before joining Odin. Secondly, it was because Denjiro was very good at negotiation, since he was a child, or cheating, and he could often get some things at a low price. He was going to take Denjiro to have a good talk about the price of redeeming Kinemon. However, they did not notice that it was because of Shimotsuki Yasu's arrival that Shaina put away the flame in her hand on the cloud. After returning, Yasu Shimotsuki took Denjiro to Onigashima with almost no rest. Hakame managed the port of Wano country. Naturally, there were qualified boatmen among them, so they would not capsize in the inland sea like Kajiro. After explaining their purpose, they met the person they were negotiating with, Jin. I'm the daimyo Shimotsuki Yasu of Hakame. I'm here to redeem his retainer, Kinemon, on behalf of my friend Kazuki Odin. This is his colleague Denjiro. According to our regulations, he should work in the mine for 20 years. We already know the situation. Name your price. 10,000 platinum. As soon as these words came out, both Shimotsuki Yasu and Denjiro's faces changed drastically. Although they were prepared to bleed heavily, this amount was simply out of the question. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 High Compensation and Siege War. Asking for a sky-high price, but paying back a low price, but the opening number is such an impossible number. The other party's attitude is uncertain. This is impossible. No one in Wano country can come up with so much money. 10,000 platinum, 1 million gold, that is, 10 billion berries. Even the generals of Wano country have to empty the treasury to come up with this amount of money. The currency of Wano country is metal currency. They can't even print money, and Jin's amount makes it impossible for them to continue the negotiation. Even Denjiro lost his composure for a while. Denjiro is too young and lacks experience in handling major events. Kinemon is his good friend, and he can't control his emotions for a while. Shimotsuki Yasu is calmer. Tell me, what do you want in order to release Kinemon? Don't say it so harshly. It's him who violated the rules. Kajiro, you come and explain it. Then the sliding door on the side was opened, and Kajiro with a bandage on his head walked out. The injury was of course real, but it was not caused by those thugs before, but he beat himself in order to make it realistic. In this regard, he is a ruthless person. As you command, Lord Jin. Lord Kanjia, I'm just an ordinary businessman. I was doing business in the flower capital the other day, but a group of thugs came out to smash my stall. Although I fought hard, I was outnumbered and the people of the beasts arrested those people. You also heard that those people injured a legitimate businessman, and the Kinemon you mentioned wanted to go to the prison to rescue those people. Do you think he asked for it? It has already happened. What's the point of talking about this? Name your price. Shimotsuki Kanjia didn't care about Jin's words. Now that Kinemon was in their hands, they would have to bleed a lot to replace Kinemon. Very good, we want the right to use this place. Pulling aside a piece of cloth on the table in front of him, a sand table of Wano country was revealed, and Jin pointed his finger directly at the peach garden farm in Kuri. Although Shimotsuki Yasu was serious when he was young, there was a huge difference between his height and Jin. There were indeed many tall people in Wano country, but Shimotsuki Yasu was not one of them. With this difference, Jin brought a much greater sense of oppression. But this was not the point. Shimotsuki Yasu's point was the sand table in front of Jin. Every blade of grass and every tree on it was clearly marked. If he just wanted a place, there was no need to say it so clearly. It was obvious that this was deliberately revealing some information to him. Does it mean that Wano country is under control? Shimotsuki Yasu thought so in his heart. When he was thinking about this question, Jin urged him again, either 10,000 platinum, or hand over this farm to us, or we will send him to mine according to the rules, or you can choose the fourth way, that is, we will kill that guy as Kirizumi Orochi said. Whether it was letting Kinemon dig for 20 years or being executed, it was impossible to accept it, and Taoyuan farm was the goal of the beasts. No matter what Shimotsuki Yasu said, Jin had no intention of giving in. In the end, for Kinemon's safety, they had to agree to rent Taoyuan farm to the beast's pirates at a price of 5 silvers per year. This was the last right that Denjiro had fought for. At least in this way, Taoyuan farm still belonged to them in name. Can we take Kinemon away now? No. Why? Didn't we give it to you? You gave him his atonement, but the medical expenses of the guards, the repair costs of the house, the labor fees of the warden, and the mental damage compensation of other guards, all of which are 500 gold. After paying a huge sum of money again, Denjiro finally saw Kinemon. At this time, he was bandaged like a mummy, and fell into a coma. No matter how he was called, he didn't respond. What did you do to him? Nothing. He should wake up after sleeping for 10 days or half a month. He is returned to you alive, and we don't care about what happens next. After so many years, Jin's torture has long been more than just physical pain. Compared to the physical pain, mental fatigue and pain are more tormenting. He didn't do anything else, just used a drug prepared by Nakin to make his 5 senses more acute, and at the same time more sensitive to time. Then he was locked in the silent box built by Quinn, in an absolutely quiet environment for a long time. It seems that his injuries are still left by Babanuki, but now Kinemon is more traumatized mentally. This matter seems to be over, but it is not completely over. Taoyuan farm is an important crop production area in Julie, and the food source of Odin Castle basically depends on it. In order to exchange for Kinemon, They had to rent it to the beast pirates at a cabbage price, and then paid another sum of money. The most direct consequence of this is that they have no money, and their food and drink all cost money, and the same is true for those employed in Odin Castle. Although Shimotsuki Yasuka lent them a sum of money, it was only enough for temporary needs. So these retainers started borrowing money and repaying it everywhere, and even their clothes were gradually patched. In the following half a month, everyone lived in peace, but everyone had their own ideas behind their backs. Arceus just teased the child and continued to use Yamato's luck. This time it was probability. Let Yamato choose more places, and then take the place she chose the most as the next exploration site. But the world will not be so peaceful forever. First, Kaido, who was out, came back. This time he did not pick up the child, but found a devil fruit, the animal system spider fruit, ancient species rose, ancient wolf spider form. Soon after, a battle broke out in the sky above the flower capital. It was more like a hunt than a battle. Jin and Shaina were hunting a man in white. White cloak, strange pattern mask, neat suit. Only one kind of person on the sea will adopt this kind of dress, that is, CP0. And he appeared here because of Kurozumi Orochi. Although Wano country has not completely become a weapons producer, with the help of Kaido, a large number of weapons factories have appeared in Rabbit Bowl. Weapons have been produced there, and these weapons are naturally to be sold. Kaido originally sold them on the black market through the way of the beast fruit. But Orochi thought that the profit was not enough, so he asked Kurozumi Merchant to contact the world government on his own initiative. The CP0 came here to discuss business. However, he didn't know that he had violated the taboo of the beasts again and again. Although the business of the beasts was very large, Kaido adhered to a principle that he did not conduct any transactions directly with the world government. Although the trade at sea could not bypass the world government, it was completely different to trade directly with it. He did not trade directly because Jin, Shaina, and especially Arceus had a resistance to the world government within the beast's pirate group. Although he didn't care, he couldn't help but take this emotion into consideration. So he would rather let some middlemen make a profit from the price difference than trade directly with the world government. The moment the CP0 stepped into Wano country, the gate on the head of the snake was lowered by 2 points again. Chapter 164. What does the transaction between Kurozumi Orochi and my 100 beasts have to do with me? CP0, full name Cypher Pole, Aegis 0, is known as the strongest shield of the Celestial Dragons, protecting the safety of the Celestial Dragons. The selection of CP0 personnel is very strict. Both loyalty and strength are required. Loyalty is naturally needless to say, and in terms of strength, they can't protect those celestial dragons without some strength. Although the celestial dragons have a noble status, and attacking the celestial dragons will pay a huge price, there are still many people who want to kill the celestial dragons. Because of the celestial dragons, there are many people whose families are broken and killed. When a person loses everything, all threats do not exist for him. The celestial dragons themselves are not honest and often appear in various places. Every time the world government has to make a security plan. Otherwise, most CP0s have to wear masks when they go out. On the one hand, it is required for espionage operations, and on the other hand, it is really easy to be stabbed in the spine. In order to divert conflicts, the world government's choice is to squeeze non-member countries and use pirates to attract conflicts. Under this wonderful management method, there are more and more pirates on the sea. Although the real era of great pirates has not yet arrived, the unrest in the sea is increasing day by day. There are many powerful people among them. In this case, seastern products have become rigid products, but there are too few seasterns that can be found outside of Wano country. Since the Kazuki family blocked Wano country countless years ago, the products of Wano country have stopped flowing out. There are many seastern handcuffs outside that are antiques that are hundreds of years old. At that time, because of the terrain of Wano country, the strength of the country and various unknown reasons, the world government did not interfere. The cost was too high, so Wano country entered a long period of closure. Not long ago, Kurozumi Orochi's people contacted the world government and proposed a stable seastern transaction. The world government did not refuse this matter, so it sent the CP0 as a representative to Wano country. Just over 10 minutes ago, he was still having friendly exchanges with Orochi. It has to be said that Orochi has done a good job in the aspect of pretending to be powerful. He successfully took advantage of Kaido's current fame. The world government did not do anything else at the time, but now the times have changed. If Wano country itself becomes weak, the world government may take the opportunity to control it and completely grasp the output of Seaston. This was also one of the tasks of the agent, to observe the state of Wano country. So Kurozumi Orochi was full of how close the connection between Kaido and himself was, and he successfully improved his negotiating position by borrowing Kaido's strength. It was not until this time that the news that the headquarters of the Beast's pirates had become Wano country was leaked to the world government. Wano country was too close before, and even if they wanted to investigate, they only found the Beast's pirates in the waters near Wano country, but they didn't expect that Kaido had reached an agreement with Kurozumi Orochi. If he left, there might be other ways out, but he didn't. Not only did he not leave, he also wandered around Wano country. This just happened to hit Shaina in the face, and he was really fooled by Kurozumi Orochi, and believed that the beasts had a close connection with them. This is one of the few abilities of Orochi, patience and deception. When he is forbearing, he can lie down in the sewage and act as a stepping stone, letting others step over him. People from the world government? Woman, this has nothing to do with you. Those CP0s usually either follow the celestial dragons, or execute orders on behalf of the world government, so most of them have an inexplicable sense of superiority. He thought he came here to negotiate a deal with Kurozumi Orochi, and according to Kurozumi Orochi, he and Kaido were allies, so he, Kaido and Orochi, who represented the world government, were equal. So he had some contempt for the officers under the Beast's pirates. After all, in the eyes of the world government, she was also Kaido's officer. Still with the same face, you lackers of the world government still can't learn to raise your eyes and look at people. It was the same before. Those CP0s rushed into their secluded village and started slaughtering without saying a word. But now, the biggest change is that she is no longer that ordinary girl. The word lonely dog seemed to touch his taboo, but before he could say anything, he was greeted by a fist burning with flames. But it doesn't matter, since you dare to appear here, you are ready to die. The fist is at most an appetizer. At least 70% of Shaina's strength is in her two legs. This CP0 is slightly higher than her, but it doesn't affect anything. She stepped on the ground with her left leg, causing the bricks and stones underneath to break. At the same time, her wings shook, and her right knee hit his chin. CP0 was obviously stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Shaina to take action directly, which caused Shaina's knee to hit his chin hard. Then a fierce flame burst out from her wrist, and the flame wrapped around her entire arm in the blink of an eye, and also hit his head. This was a combo of flying knee kicks and flaming fists. He was suddenly hit hard on the chin, and at that moment his consciousness entered a short faint. Then he was hit on the cheek by a fist wrapped in flames. The whole person was hammered out, and hit directly into the place built by the snake to imprison the rebels. The fences made of spears outside caused him secondary damage. The people who were originally guarding here scattered one after another. They didn't know what was going on. As soon as they ran away, a flame burned over. The intense high temperature evaporated the moisture contained in the land, and the land that was wet due to the rain in the past 2 days was dried instantly. But he was CP0 after all, so he would not lose his fighting ability after just 2 hits. But he also noticed something was wrong. Shaina's 2 hits were intended to kill him directly. Looking at the deadly flames, he still dodged. When he got up again, his clothes covered with mud made him no longer look arrogant. Wait, I made a deal with Kurozumi Orochi. What does your deal with Kurozumi Orochi have to do with me? He thought the other party had misunderstood something, but when he mentioned Kurozumi Orochi's name, the other party's attack became more fierce. He narrowly dodged the other party's kick, and was about to fight back, but was kicked away from behind. Shaina, what's going on? CP0, an agent of the world government, do you need any other reasons? No. Then a row of rock spikes suddenly appeared from the ground, and at the same time a vortex of flames blocked his retreat. The one who appeared here was Jin. He was originally going to Yalko to deliver something, but happened to discover the situation here. There is no need to explain the tacit understanding between him and Shaina. The sharp stone attack and the vortex of fire instantly formed a combination attack. Chapter 165. Black Shark Hole Snake, I hate you. However, a black shadow rushed into the air amidst the flames, and his figure became much more swollen than before. When he rushed out of the sea of fire, his whole body was burning, but the burning things quickly fell off, revealing his original appearance. It seemed that the sharp stone attack did not cause effective damage, as if he had somehow dodged it, and the flames left by the vortex of flames were also blocked by something. A person with special abilities? CP0. It's not surprising that he is a person with special abilities. Although these guys are annoying, they are not weak themselves. However, he seems to want to escape, and he is quite skilled in using the moon step. Then chase him. It's not convenient to go to Mirajoa, and how can we let the guy who came to our door leave? Two figures, one red and one black, chased into the sky at the same time, and a chase began. The 6 styles is the basic skill of CP0, but although the moon step allows people to walk and jump in the air, it is still far from real flying. The fossil pterosaur was the overlord of the sky in ancient times, and Shaina had already accelerated to the maximum in the battle just now. Her developed leg strength and the characteristics of the flame chicken gave her the ability to use the air to boost her flight speed, which was only faster than Jin. At this time, the CP0 had a lot of dirty words to say to Kurazumi Orochi and his relatives. I have a close relationship with Kaido, and he supports my actions. The beast's pirates are behind me, and they will not agree to this price. With the beasts guarding here, you can't get in. The tone of Orochi's solemn oath just now appeared in his mind, and he now had only 2 words to answer him. Bullshit. If the relationship was better, it would be impossible to do such a thing. The opponent's attack was originally murderous, but after he said that he was Kurazumi Orochi's partner, the opponent wanted to tear him apart. This is not a partner, it's simply an enemy. During the escape, he took out the Dendenmushi in his hand. According to the current situation analysis, he felt that it would be difficult for him to leave here, but at least he had to send back the news of Wano country. They had a big misjudgment of the situation in Wano country. But for some reason, the Dendenmushi in his hand suddenly stopped responding, and could not contact the outside world at all. At this time, on the ghost island, Arceus, who was originally playing with Yamato, looked in the direction of the flower capital. The distance was very far, and only 2 small dots burning with flames could be seen, but this was enough to explain what happened in Invaders. Otherwise, this kind of battle would not be launched, so he interfered with the signal frequency above Wano country. Water waves, evil waves, dragon waves, and there are many wave-based abilities in the abilities of Pokemon. The working principle of the Dendenmushi is to convert human voices into the voices of Dendenmushi and then transmit them over long distances. It is a unique wave frequency. The power of the wave plus the electromagnetic waves of the lightning slab, the signal above Wano country has been completely disordered, and his phone naturally cannot be dialed out. Moreover, this wave is specifically aimed at snails. If there is something inside the beast's pirates, the snail's phone can still be dialed out. Lucky? Fly? Fire? Looking at the light in the distance, Yamato said a few words intermittently, seeming to be very interested. Kaido, is there a fireworks show in Wano country? Let them come tonight. Yamato seems to be very interested. It's up to you, but do you want to bet on how long it will take for the 2 of them to deal with the bug? I'm not interested. From the moment he exposed his back to the hunter, his death was a foregone conclusion. The length of time is meaningless. After all, this is our base camp. In the eyes of Kaido and Arceus, the intruder was nothing at all. At most, he could be a target of entertainment. CP0 angrily dropped the Dendenmushi in his hand. The Dendenmushi fell from the sky with a look of confusion and finally landed in the canal near the flower capital. At this time, Jin and Shaina had already caught up. Although the people were still some distance away, the attack had already arrived. Scorching Star Flying Emperor. Rock blades appeared behind Jin in the form of a fossilized pterosaur, and the fire of the Lunaria tribe was attached to it. Jin was now a high-speed fighter. The changes that happened to the CP0 were similar to when he just rushed out of the vortex of fire. His body became slightly swollen, and there was also domineering aura attached to it. However, this change slowed down his speed. All the rock bullets released by Jin hit him, but the effect was indeed limited. Then his hair grew rapidly, and under the control of the return of life, it turned into a large net that shone towards Jin. The attack composed of hair naturally could not stop Jin. Although he attached domineering aura to his hair, the area of domineering aura was limited. Before he could hurt Jin, Jin had already broken free from his restraints. However, the CP0 once again showed a slightly smug expression, as if he had achieved some goal. He crossed his arms and took Shaina's kick. The things on his body began to fall off again, revealing the brand new skin underneath. I'm a hypertrophic person who ate the hypertrophic fruit. I can freely grow things in my body, including hair, stratum corneum, skin, and of course the viruses in my body. Those viruses were specially injected into my body. They are dormant on weekdays. In the battle just now, you have already inhaled enough virus powder. Now as long as I activate my ability again, you will immediately get sick. Hearing his words, Shaina's body stiffened, but it was not because of the so-called virus. According to him, the way he blocked his attack just now should be to quickly proliferate the skin on the surface of the body, so that a large amount of dead skin formed a buffer layer, which was also the way he rushed out of the vortex of fire. This also means that I just kicked a pile of dead skin. After this thought came to my mind, a feeling of disgust came from my mind. She was also a girl. After realizing what she kicked, she suddenly felt unclean. The flames wrapped her whole body, and her speed on her feet became a little faster. Flashing flames charged. Even if this move would cause some counter injury, it didn't matter. She wanted to use the flames to cleanse herself and then send that disgusting guy to death quickly. Seeing that Shaina had no intention of stopping, he immediately activated his ability, wanting to make the virus in their bodies take effect, but until Shaina kicked through his chest, his ability did not take effect. It was not because the flames killed the virus. The things in his body were biological weapons specially cultivated by the world government, and they were inherently resistant to high temperatures. The reason for his failure was the blood of the Lunaria tribe. Their blood had extremely strong resistance, and it could be said that they were immune to all bacteria and viruses currently known to humans. Chapter 166. Die with unclosed eyes. Jin, go report to the Holy Beast and Mr. Kaido. Although the flash charge has a counter injury, the Lunaria people's physique and domineering, the counter injury will not have much impact, but Shaina still handed it over to Jin. What are you going to do? I'm going to take a bath. This bastard's ability is too disgusting. The bathhouse in the flower capital has a good reputation. Forget it. Don't you know that place is a mixed bath? I can't stand this. Beiwu has a hot spring. I will go back a few hours later. Tell me for me. She left here. The kick had pierced the opponent's chest. Not to mention hyperplasia. Even regeneration is dead. So Shaina left directly and handed the finishing touches to Jin. She felt sick when she looked at that CP0. But for some reason, when Jin took off the opponent's mask, he found that he had a look of unwillingness to die, and his eyes were always looking in the direction of the residents of the flower capital Orochi. This guy seems unwilling to give up, but why would the people from the world government come here? Jin did not deal with the body directly, but called Quinn. According to what he said before he died, there seemed to be a lot of dormant viruses in his body. He was not sure whether the high temperature could kill those viruses. If not, rashly dealing with the body would only cause the virus to spread, which would be a disaster for Wano country. The snail signal was not affected. After listening to Jin's words, Quinn hurriedly brought a small team of people here, each wearing a sealed chemical protective suit, making them look like astronauts. Is it that serious? This kind of thing scares you so much? Looking at Quinn, who was like a big barrel under the chemical protective suit, Jin could not understand this idea. Do you think everyone is like you, a pervert? The things in the hands of the world government may have some impact. My bananas have not been harvested yet, so of course I have to be careful. As he said that, he took out a strange instrument and scanned the surroundings. When he saw no response, he breathed a sigh of relief and then took out a large sealed cover and put him and the line below in it. There is a crater on the nearby island. You can throw it into it. That way, it will be over. I'm going to report the situation here to Brother Kaido. I'll leave this guy to you. Oh, by the way, he seemed to have thrown something during the previous battle. It should have fallen into the river. You can slowly look for it yourself. After saying that, Jin left here and threw this pile of troubles to Quinn. As the only person left with the ability to fly, Quinn could only take on this trouble, and the remaining brothers began to search along the canal, and finally found the Dendenmushi in the evening. Dendenmushi itself also has the ability to survive. In that situation, it struggled to climb to the river bank, but when it was found, it was almost dead. At this time, Kurozumi Orochi was very panicked. He saw the battle over the flower capital. The people of the beast pirates fought a big battle with the people sent by the world government, and they also killed the people of the world government. This made Kurozumi Orochi understand that he seemed to have misjudged the relationship with the other party. He knew that pirates and the world government were hostile, but he thought that Kaido would be able to give in for the sake of profit, but the result told him that he was wrong. Not long after, the residents of the flower capital saw a giant blue dragon flying straight into the residence of Kurozumi Orochi. Aha, Orochi, you seem to have done a lot of good things in private. Although Kaido was laughing, his laughter brought him an endless sense of oppression. If it weren't for Kurozumi-chan behind him, he would have wanted to escape from here now. After all, Kaido has been fiddling with his mace since he came in. I'm just trying to find a market. The weapons factory has already started production. Only by selling them can we make money. You think too much. Since you're so busy, let's change our share to 60:40, you 40, I 60. Originally, they split the business in Wano country 55:50. But as soon as this happened, Kaido wanted to take 10% of the profits directly, and this was already a very polite behavior. The reason why he was so polite was that in his opinion, Orochi was already dead, and there was nothing to be fussy about with a dead person, but he had to express his opinion on this matter, so Kaido started with the profit division. Under pressure from Kaido, Kurozumi Orochi had to agree to this request. By the way, this is the first time. If you dare to contact someone you shouldn't contact again, watch out for your head. As Kaido spoke, a momentum burst out from him. The domineering aura of the Overlord was completely pressed on Kurozumi Orochi. People in Orochi Castle fell one after another. Few people here could withstand Kaido's domineering aura. During the period when Kaido left here, there was unprecedented silence here, and Orochi's residence became like a ghost town. At the same time, the world government also discovered the problem. It takes a lot of time to cultivate a CP0, and their tasks are usually related to the secrets of the world government, so their superiors have their life cards in their hands. The moment he died, his life card disappeared, which made the people above feel puzzled. Just a moment ago, he reported back that the beasts had reached an alliance with Kurozumi Orochi and moved to Wano country, and stated that they had obtained a business deal related to Seaston, but such a big accident happened not long after. The cause of his death became something that must be figured out. CP0 usually works in a small team. After his death, the remaining teammates naturally took over the mission. Now 3 masked men of different shapes are discussing the next action. He didn't send back any news before he died, which doesn't make sense. CP0 encountered many accidents during missions, but according to their training, if it is a situation where death is inevitable, then they must find a way to pass the information back. Wano country is now occupied by Kaido. If they really reached an agreement, why did he die there? If it was other enemies, then the beasts would not sit idly by. No pirate would tolerate others taking action on their own territory. It is not that no news can be transmitted. I think it is more likely that Kaido will take action. Do you have the contact information of that Kurozumi Orochi? Maybe he will know why. No, that was a one-sided contact. The only Dendenmushi that can contact Wano country is on him. Now the world government cannot choose to attack Wano country. They have not done so in the past few hundred years. Although people died, a CP0 will not make the world government angry, and they dare not rush into the unknown of Wano country. In the end, with a tentative purpose, they called the CP0 agent, and unexpectedly, the call was picked up by someone. Who are you? Where is the owner of the Dendenmushi? He is dead. Wano country is not a place you should get involved in. You actually believe the words of that waste Kurozumi Orochi? Chapter 167 Dendenmushi defects to the enemy. The communication process was very brief, but it made them understand the other party's identity, the beast's pirates. His attitude is very unfriendly, and it is difficult to contact him. Even if it is difficult, we have to contact him. The people above will not give up the trade of Seaston. We need Seaston products and weapons unique to Wano country. Buying them on the black market is not only expensive, but also the quality and quantity cannot be guaranteed. We need a stable supplier. He contacted Kurozumi Orochi before. Did we misjudge the internal relationship in Wano country? The relationship between the beast's pirates and Kurozumi Orochi does not seem to be that friendly. It's not surprising that guy's personality angered those pirates. They answered the phone, so there is still a possibility of negotiation. Let's sort out their information first. After a brief discussion, they thought they had made a mistake in the focus of contacting Wano country. Previously, they focused on Kurozumi Orochi, but now it seems that Kurozumi Orochi does not seem to have much status in Wano country, and the beasts are the dominant one. In this case, they have to replan. On Onigashima, many people showed puzzled expressions after the phone call was hung up. Originally, they didn't want to answer the call at all, but Arceus found a pirate to pass on this information, giving them a feeling that they could communicate. The purpose of all this is not for anything else, but to let this Dendenmushi remember the CP0 Dendenmushi on the opposite side. Remember the companion just now. After hanging up the phone, Arceus was communicating with the Dendenmushi. After being thrown down by the agent, it almost lost half of its life. Although it was picked up, under normal circumstances, this Dendenmushi can no longer be repaired. The injured snail will only die slowly after being abandoned, but Arceus discovered a new use for this snail, so he turned it into an ammonite and replenished its vitality with a drop of life. The purpose is to eavesdrop. There is a black Dendenmushi among the Dendenmushi. They like to exchange information with their own kind, so they are used as eavesdroppers. And there are countless Dendenmushi in the world. If you want to eavesdrop accurately, you need the number of the Dendenmushi. The incoming phone call gave this opportunity. Ammon has memorized this number. Dendenmushi are grateful. The Dendenmushi that was saved by Buggy during the war at the top was moved to tears by Buggy. This Dendenmushi also had this mentality. They are willing to be used as a communication tool, just to find a master who provides food and shelter. That agent did something too much to it, and the beasts saved it, so it wanted to repay them, so it took on this task. Remember the Dendenmushi of that band, and communicate with it is its task. The Dendenmushi with upgraded intelligence has since become the eavesdropping specialist of the beast's pirates, specializing in stealing some information from the world government. As for why it can speak, the Dendenmushi can imitate human voices, and understand human language. After becoming Ammon and being upgraded, it can speak human language, even when not making a call. He did this to prevent trouble before it happens. The Lunaria tribe and the current world government have a blood feud. There is no hostility now, but it is not the right time. Since there will be hostility sooner or later, of course, it is necessary to prepare early. Find a reliable person. His task in the future is to raise it. Do you understand? So Quinn became the breeder of this new Dendenmushi. He already had dozens of snails from Wano country, so it wouldn't be difficult to have another one. Okay, there's nothing else to do. Just do what needs to be done. By the way, how are the fireworks activities arranged? It's ready. We can start at any time, but it's better to wait until it's darker. Although it's not time for Wano country to produce fireworks yet, there are many weapons factories in Wano country now. It's no problem to take some gunpowder from the things used to make weapons and use it as a raw material for fireworks after improvement. Almost all the fireworks craftsmen in the rabbit bowl area were taken to a factory, and their task was to make qualified fireworks. Each firework was marked with a name, and the person who took them to the factory had said that the person who made the most satisfactory fireworks could get an additional reward of 100 gold. In this case, everyone mustered up their strength and used their best skills. Wano country tonight is destined to be very lively. As the moon rose into the sky, the prepared fireworks were also lit one after another on an open space. The fireworks in the sky scared Yamato at first, but as the metal powder began to burn in the air, the gorgeous patterns attracted all her interest. Jack and Mariah were the same. Although this fireworks was prepared for Yamato, not only the 3 children on Onigashima, but also the people of the whole Wano country saw this grand fireworks. In order to get the so-called reward, the craftsmen did their best, and the bigger the fireworks, the more grand the effect, so they needed to increase the amount of medicine, so the flying height would be higher. Even the farthest Shimoi could vaguely see the movement here on Onigashima. Mom, why are there fireworks today? Maybe some big shot is having a birthday. Can I celebrate my birthday like this? No, Kintaro, we don't have the ability to do that. In the closed Wano country, fireworks are actually controlled items. They are only released by the general and daimyo organizations at specific times every year. Usually, they can only be seen at the fire festival, New Year, or the day when the general ascends the throne. Normally, they can only see it twice a year at most. They can't imagine that this grand fireworks show is just because Yamato is interested in it, so the Beast's pirates prepared this fireworks party. On Onigashima, a banquet was also held on this occasion, with Quinn holding a microphone and acting as the host of the banquet. The people on Onigashima were partying, while the ordinary people of Wano country were enjoying the fireworks. The daimyos from other villages did not feel much about this, but there were 2 groups of people who had no interest in appreciating the fireworks. One of them was Kurazumi Orochi, who had just woken up after being stunned by Kaido's conqueror's haki. When he heard the fireworks exploding, he thought it was the Beast's pirates that broke in. He was so frightened that he naturally had no mood to appreciate the fireworks, and he doubted whether it was right to let the beasts come here. In Kuri, Kazuki Oden's retainers also had no interest in appreciating the fireworks, and all the reasons were Kinemon. Although he was redeemed, he was seriously injured, not only physically, but also mentally. At first, he was even afraid to sleep, and it took him many days to recuperate before he could fall asleep like a normal person. But today's fireworks frightened him again, and his condition deteriorated again. Chapter 168. I think there's a traitor among us. The Dendenmushi that joined the beasts, Ammonite, worked very hard, but Quinn was a little unhappy when it worked so hard. The specific thing is this: after remembering the number of the Dendenmushi, in order to repay the life-saving grace, it also remembered 2 or 3 more numbers, based on the contact signal of the Dendenmushi. Dendenmushi is originally a large group of snails, and it is not surprising that they have been related to each other before. After all, the same batch of Dendenmushi may be made by the same nest of snails. It really doesn't know which phone is more important, but it can understand human language, so it knows what honorifics are. If you want to get information from your companions, you have to say nice things to them, so the numbers it can remember are limited. In order to get more critical intelligence, it specifically remembers those companions who often use honorifics. The life of Dendenmushi is very comfortable, except for those surveillance Dendenmushi who need to take turns. Ordinary Dendenmushi spend most of their time resting when there are no phones. So when the phone rings, whether it is day or night, they can immediately convey the message. Dendenmushi cannot write, and most of the time they can only relay the words of their companions, not record those words in their minds. So when he receives a message, he will remind the people next to him to come and record it quickly. It is okay during the day, as long as it makes a sound as usual, but it is not possible at night. So Quinn is often awakened by the water gun of Ammonite while sleeping. On this quiet night, he suffered the same thing as before, a stream of water sprayed on his face, waking him up from his sleep. These bastards. Can't they call during the day? In fact, it is daytime, but it is daytime in Mirajoa. Officials contact the outside world at their own time. Even CP0 cannot guarantee that there will be missions only during the day, let alone their eavesdropping. No, I have to ask Brother Kaido to replace the night shift, otherwise my hair will not be able to bear it. After recording the information eavesdropped by Ammonite in a small notebook, and looking at the moon and the night sky, Quinn thought he needed an assistant. You are already bald, don't worry about the details. I shaved it myself. You are just a snail. Do you know how to appreciate the beauty of humans? By the way, can't you write the message yourself? I can't write, and I'm just repaying my benefactor." After saying that, he retracted into his shell. Dendenmush's essential skill is to sleep with eyes closed. Otherwise, it is difficult for Dendenmushi to ensure that it is always energetic. Although many of the eavesdropped messages are of no value to the beasts, they are related to their situation. Contact the beasts' pirates to obtain the trade price. However, because the death of CP0 was unclear, the people behind did not dare to enter Wano country rashly, and they mainly tried to communicate by phone. Although Kaido always answered the phone, he always disagreed, giving the world government a feeling that they could trade, but could not meet the psychological needs of the other party. Even using several animal-type devil fruits as equivalents failed to reach a deal, so the CP0 team was very troubled, and the three of them sat together to talk about the beasts. What does that guy want? Forget it. The stuff that has come out of the black market is enough. It's better to contact Kaido than to find a few more merchants in the underground world. Their goods are still from Kaido, and they are not authentic. If Kaido cuts off the supply, there will be nothing to do. Can we only use those things? It is common to hear that the beast's pirates collect stone tablets in the black market, and the world government does have some, but it is not convenient to take them out directly as trading items. It's not easy. Although there is no clue, Vegapunk has not given up. As for the collection of the celestial dragons, let's wait and see. That guy has so many businesses that he can't give up the profits. I'm afraid the price is not right, but I think something is wrong. Why do I feel that we have no secrets every time we talk, and he seems to know where our bottom line is? Every negotiation fails to achieve results. What they can offer is always different from Kaido's psychological price. If the news was not directly transmitted by the headquarters, he would suspect that there is an undercover. As for the white Dendenmushi that can prevent eavesdropping, that kind of Dendenmushi is too rare. Not everyone can be equipped. Only for truly top secret missions will they be equipped with that kind of Dendenmushi. Their qualifications for this mission have not yet reached that level. What about those failed products of Punk Hazard? Isn't Kaido recruiting people? He might be interested in those giants. You mean the ones that aim to revive the ancient giants, but in the end they are neither human nor ghost, and can only scare people except being edible? Anyway, they are failed products. If they can be traded, it can be considered to be of value. That is Punk Hazard's experimental plan. The purpose is to create warriors of the ancient giants, but they did not succeed completely. The monsters they made have low IQs, and it is difficult to meet their needs. In this world, it is not enough to have a huge body. Many strong people have ways to deal with those giants. If the intelligence is not enough, they will be a living target when they are dragged to the battlefield. Although the giants made are larger than ordinary giants, their intelligence is much worse, and their appetite is huge. Using them is far less than training a few lieutenant generals of the giants. So they were frozen after being identified as failed products, but now they have been mentioned, and they plan to recycle them. They will not trade out the really useful war weapons. These are the barbarians of the beast's pirates in the original timeline, but they are basically useless except for cleaning up the miscellaneous soldiers and scaring people. We can't make the decision on those things. We have to report to the higher-ups. Besides, Kaido's preferences are too strange. Haven't the people sent to investigate made any moves yet? It should be soon. They seem to have sneaked into Kaido's territory not long ago. This territory does not refer to Wano country. The beast's pirates also have many territories in the outside world. Those territories do not have the natural barriers like Wano country, so it is not difficult to sneak in. They want to get information from somewhere indirectly, and they also have the previous mission, which is to collect information about the beast's pirates. The world government's agent organization has more than one CP0. Such small tasks are all carried out by other departments. For example, at this time, a pirate ship that has just arrived in the new world is heading to the territory outside the beast's pirates. According to the route, they will soon reach the island guarded by Scourge. Chapter 169, a combination of cyborgs and abilities. According to convention, pirates who can reach the Sabaody archipelago alive will be called the rising stars among pirates. It is impossible for many people to go through the first half of the Grand Line. The pirates with a bounty of over 100 million will be called supernovas. They are either extremely powerful or notorious for committing many murders. Because of their great harm, their bounties have been increased. Moreover, these pirates in the first half have another characteristic. They don't know the depth. It is difficult to find someone in the new world who has the courage to challenge the famous pirates. They know how powerful those monsters are. Only those who have been at sea for a short time and don't know the height of the world have this courage. Especially those supernovas, because their own bounties often carry a kind of blind self-confidence. They will do very irrational things if they are fooled a little. Pangolin, a member of CP9, codenamed Pangolin, joined the Pumpkin Pirates in the first half of the Grand Line a few months ago. The captain is this issue's supernova, Pumpkin Maniac Cebralo, a pirate with a strange obsession with pumpkins, and even the pirate ship looks like a huge pumpkin. The bounty is 110 million baileys. His method of getting into the pirate group is very simple. He pretends to be a pumpkin fanatic. Now he has gained the trust of Cebralo. Not long ago, he received a task from the organization to find a way to seduce Cebralo to go to Kaido's territory to investigate some situations. This investigation is naturally not an ordinary investigation. If it is just to find out the news, there are already agents pretending to be merchants going to those islands. His task is to cause disputes between Cebralo and the Beast's pirates. Judging some things by observing the fighting methods. The main purpose is to observe the fighting methods of those strange ability users in the Beast's territory. Ordinary islands may not have them, but there must be guards on the main island of the Beast's pirates. Such people also have a high probability of having strange abilities. As for how to fool Cebralo, it is not difficult for Pangolin. He got on the ship as a navigator, and he was the one who set the route. As for Cebralo's own opinion, as long as he is told that there may be delicious pumpkins there, he will not have any opinions. Many people go to sea for inexplicable reasons. For example, this Cebralo, at the beginning his goal was to find the most delicious pumpkin, but he had some problems. If he couldn't get the pumpkin, he would become very manic, and even kill for it. When he didn't go out to sea, there were countless pumpkins growing on the island, so he didn't get sick. But it was common to lack supplies during the long voyage, which caused him to become manic from time to time. It is somewhat similar to Big Mom's food addiction, but not exactly the same. This problem and his personality made him a pirate with a bounty in the end. While the Pumpkin Pirates adjusted their routes, Scourge was patrolling with a group of people on the Winter Island. Most of the elite of the beasts were brought into the country of Wano by Kaido, but the territory outside was not without the ability to fight back. Relying on the reputation of the Beast's pirates during this period, life here is generally very stable. Scourge stepped heavily on the snow, and the snow on his shoulders fell off. Kaido and Arceus entrusted the safety of the island to him. He thought it was a sign of his importance, and he completed his tasks meticulously every day. The people following him were not members of the Beast's pirates, but Gabble and the patrol team of villagers he led. After Kaido left, there were several invaders here. The Beast's pirates took several years to change the way of life here, and these people were used to the protection of the beasts. Especially what happened after Kaido moved away from here made them understand that the stability of the island actually had a lot to do with Kaido, and the initial opposition gradually disappeared. In order to better stabilize the lives of the villagers, Gabble even organized the original team to be responsible for the security of the village, and also gave the pirates who stayed here more help. There are pirate ships coming. It's a flag that I haven't seen before. New news came from the port checkpoint, which was also Gabble's least favorite situation. Unseen flags basically mean newcomers, and those newcomers mean that the stability of the island will be broken again. The territory of the big pirates has its own rules. Ordinary pirates in the Totland Sea will be directly destroyed if they enter without permission. But that was Charlotte Linlin's special ability. The mass-produced Homets made her troops very sufficient. Kaido did not have so many people to monitor all the sea areas, but those who landed had to pay tolls. Sure artillery, get ready. Looking at the pirate group approaching, Scourge raised his left hand. Over the years, he took the initiative to let Quinn undergo more human body transformation. Only the left shoulder and below of the entire upper body were original. The excellent military engineering ability allowed this island to build a series of coastal defense artillery, and the style of the entire island was similar to that of a fortress. They didn't know what this pirate ship was doing, but as long as they had the intention to dock, they had to pay tolls. The pirates on the watchtower raised flags, indicating that the pumpkin pirates should stop the ship. However, the other party had no intention of stopping at all, but chose to open fire directly, confirm the enemy, fight back, and annihilate them all. Scourge gave an order to the gunner, and then his legs and left hand changed into two large magnets after a while, and only the miniature machine gun on his right arm remained. Then his huge body slowly floated up against the rules of gravity, and the electric current began to flow through his body. Transformed form, Magnemite, but he is the most special one among the many people who have acquired abilities in the Beast's Pirates. The reason why he was transformed into Magnemite has a lot to do with his identity as a cyborg. His ability is not determined by himself, but comes from Arceus' sudden whim, and the root is his identity as a cyborg. Replacing the attribute of steel with the body of a cyborg, and then integrating the power of lightning, the ability of Magnemite was finally born. Since he is a cyborg, this change is the most labor saving compared to others. The large magnet in his left hand is aimed at the opponent's pumpkin ship, and the electric current begins to condense in the front of the magnet. A lightning ball containing huge power condenses in his hand, and he floating in the air naturally attracted the attention of the opponent. A series of gunshots rang out, and countless bullets were shot at him, but nothing happened, except a crisp sound. Not only is his whole body made of steel, but he also has a strong magnetic force. When those bullets approached, they were disturbed by the strong magnetic force, and were absorbed on his body. After losing kinetic energy, I overslept during my nap. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170, The Ghost in Action. Strong magnetism and a body made of steel are the most basic abilities brought by Magnetron. Magnetron can also emit electromagnetic waves through the magnets on its body to ignore gravity. This is the principle of their own flight. There are many directions for development, but it is up to Scourge to decide which step to take. At this time, he can only use some basic abilities, such as the magnetism that attracts bullets. The materials of the bullets here are very mixed, and pure copper bullets are rare. At this time, the current condensed on the magnet in his hand is his strongest attack. The electromagnetic gun, a powerful attack, after condensing the current, requires a certain amount of charging time due to its powerful power. This is the territory of the Beast's Pirates. Intruders, you will pay for this. Then the electromagnetic gun was released, and the huge current directly pierced a large hole in the pumpkin ship. The powerful penetrating power directly penetrated the hull, and the ammunition depot on the ship caused a secondary explosion, which was directly paralyzed on the sea. The coastal defense guns on the island are not for display. They also train on weekdays. The parameters of the nearby sea area have long been recorded. It is impossible to miss such a fixed target. Is it so easy this time? Gabble, who was commanding the coastal artillery, showed an unbelievable expression. There were pirates who came to cause trouble in the past, but those pirates were more or less capable. After Kaido left, they still had the ability to break through to the main island. That's why he organized the previous defense team. The purpose was to prevent scattered pirates from breaking into their village. Pirates like this who didn't resist at all and were directly destroyed by artillery on the sea are very rare. Can such a person come to the New World? If pirates have a contempt chain, then the pirates from the New World look down on the pirates of Paradise. The pirates of Paradise look down on the pirates of the Four Seas. The pirates of the Four Seas look down on the mountain bandits, and the mountain bandits look down on all pirates. These residents born in the New World also have similar views. In fact, Panglin should have a great responsibility in this matter. Not all pirates will be well prepared before going to sea. Some people go to sea for inexplicable reasons. They don't rely on navigators to sail, but rely on their grandmothers far away in their hometown. The pumpkin pirates were similar. The only person on their ship who knew how to navigate and use flags was Panglin, an undercover agent. He translated the flags of the beasts into a provocative meaning. After all, this was his mission. This led to this situation. Taking advantage of the smoke of the explosion, he had quietly left here with the moon step. His plan had been completed, and the remaining mission had nothing to do with him. Mission accomplished. Number 2. Get ready. No 2. Understand. This was a person who had already sneaked into this winter island. They had no way of verifying the identity of everyone. This agent had sneaked into this winter island with other merchants a few days ago. As long as he didn't do anything destructive, basically no one would be able to discover his identity. The battle between Zibralo and Scourge had already begun. You actually destroyed my favorite pumpkin ship. There was nothing to say to this kind of fool who had just rushed out of paradise. Scourge directly launched a new attack. I've killed so many people with special abilities. You're just an iron shell. Don't take yourself too seriously. Pumpkin slash. However, as he swung his knife, a huge gravitational force came from the side. Affected by the magnetic force, the knife in his hand could not be swung out as he wanted. Then Zibralo's mouth suddenly opened, and a series of pumpkin seeds were spit out by him. Because they were not made of metal, Scourge's magnetic force could not affect them, and all these seeds hit him. Don't look down on me. Don't I even have the right to let you speak? Are you a mute? Isn't he just a person with special abilities? What's there to be proud of? Looking closely, his feet were also constantly spraying seeds downwards, and he used this as power to fly in the air. This is the fruit he ate on the island where he was born, the pumpkin fruit. After that, he used this ability and became more obsessed with pumpkins. The newcomers in the paradise are getting stupider and stupider. Brother Quinn gave me a new body, and the holy beast gave me great power. You don't understand what the power of God is. The huge magnet hit his body, and in the middle of the magnet, a brand new electromagnetic cannon had been condensed. In paradise, they were called supernovas, the best among pirates. The navy, pirates, and weather in the first half of the story were unable to stop them. However, in the new world, there were so many pirates like this, that the pumpkin pirates' demise did not even attract the attention of the island residents. But this time was different. For example, among the grain merchants staying on the island, one of the young-looking porters seemed very interested in this. So strong. Is this the pirate from the new world? He suddenly ran towards Scourge, who was returning, and no one around him stopped him. Who recruited this guy? The owner of the caravan was scared when he saw him rushing towards the pirates. They had been doing business with pirates, but the principle they adhered to was to talk less, watch less, listen less, and do more. He had seen too many pirates who turned their backs on people, so he generally did not have too much contact with pirates. It was okay for that person to die, but he was worried that an accident would cause trouble for himself and affect the entire caravan. Uncle, if I join you, can I become so strong? As an agent, acting skills are a must. He is now trying to act as a young man attracted by the power of pirates. Most pirates will not reject people like him. Pirates also need fresh blood. If the pirate group becomes a senior citizen club, it will be eliminated by the world. As long as you make achievements, you can also get a gift. Even if half of your body is beaten off, Brother Quinn can fix it. He patted his iron shell. If it weren't for Quinn's human body transformation, he would basically be a useless person. Therefore, among the small cadres of the beasts, Scourge respects Quinn the most. However, due to the large proportion of his transformation, his sentences lack some emotions and the punctuation is also strange. This creates an ambiguity, making people think that his ability of magnetron is also related to Quinn. After that, the agent pretended to be envious and said a few more words and was pulled away by another undercover. Sorry, this kid is ignorant and disturbed everyone. Their mission was to investigate the situation, not to be undercover pirates, so they left here after getting the information they wanted. After integrating and summarizing the information collected by others, a new data was sent to the Navy's science class. Although the science class is headed by Vegapunk, he has never been interested in this kind of news. When the second in command of the science class saw the news, he showed an incredible expression. The next chapter will be late, because I overslept during the nap. Chapter 171. Confused Quinn. Mads, but there are mainly two people who were recruited and reused by the world government. One is Vegapunk, who is known as the world's leading technology for 500 years. He is a well-deserved leader of the science class. Now the second in the science class is Caesar Courant, who is also a member of Mads, and those members looked down on each other at the beginning. Even if Vegapunk is called the world's number one, they don't think they are worse than each other, and even think that they are better in special fields. Quinn, that stupid pig, has further cracked the bloodline factor? This is impossible. A big reason why Mads was forcibly recruited by the world government was that they discovered the bloodline factor, and many people have their own research directions in this regard. After being recruited, Vegapunk made the first artificial devil fruit, based on Kaido's bloodline factor, but it is rumored that it was a failure, and Vegapunk did not continue research in this area after that. Now he is studying the conditions for the transmission of devil fruits, and how to make inanimate objects eat devil fruits. However, Caesar did not give up research in this area. He believes that there is still great prospect in this area. Artificial devil fruits, human gigantism, and weapons of mass destruction are the three subjects he is researching, but now his main focus is on the last weapon. Because the world government values this the most, and the first two are very difficult. There is also a chain of contempt in Mads. Quinn looks down on Judge, and Caesar looks down on Quinn a little. He accepts that he is not as good as Vegapunk, but he will never accept that Quinn has made achievement in his research first. Quinn is suspected of cracking the ability of the bloodline factor, and has made certain achievements. How could that guy be ahead of me? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. He continued to look through the information sent to him. Caesar Killing, who claims to be a genius scientist, is a very crazy person. He does all kinds of things for the sake of research. He is conceited, cunning, and insidious. Many adjectives can be used to describe him. However, he dare not show too much in front of Quinn, because he is a bully and afraid of the strong, and he is very cautious when facing Quinn, who is stronger than him. The power of thunder and lightning, electromagnetic cannon, human body transformation weapon. Did this bastard choose this application like Judge? No, it's not quite the same. There is still a difference. Although he has a mean personality, Caesar has his own abilities. According to this report, Quinn should have used bloodline factors and human transformation technology to make special war weapons. The source of the bloodline factor is likely to be Kaido, because most of the abilities currently discovered by the beasts are related to fire and thunder, which are the abilities that Kaido's blue dragon fruit can use. However, this report is not to say anything else, but to let the science class advance a plan, that is, the war weapon plan. The reason why Quinn was not incorporated is not only because of Quinn's wishes and personality. Even if his research is cruel, as long as it serves the world government, they can say nothing. One reason why Quinn was not recruited was because the world government believed that his technology was not as good as Caesar Killing and Vegapunk. They did not believe that their vision was wrong, so what Quinn could do, Vegapunk and Caesar must be able to do. Originally, they had a plan for a war weapon, but it was shelved because it was too difficult to implement, but this time it was taken out in advance. So far, the world government science class began to study the 184th subject, codenamed pacifist. Since Vegapunk was studying a subject at this time, this task was temporarily handed over to Caesar. At the same time, because Kaido's true hobby was being analyzed, CP0 also temporarily stopped contacting him. The world government needs to trade, but it can't let the other party manipulate it like a licking dog. Related items can also be purchased on the black market, so they judged that the purpose of the beasts was not to completely cut off the trade. In the eyes of the world government, they just wanted to extort a higher price. So Wano country has temporarily entered a peaceful development stage again, and even Ammon has been idle during this period, because the frequency of calls has obviously decreased after that period of popularity. Only one person felt puzzled, that is Quinn, who was looking at his wanted poster and doubting his life. He didn't even notice Shaina coming near him. This kind of thing was absolutely impossible in the past. He had already formed a passive state. As long as Shaina approached, the signal in his body would be warned. This time, even the warning mechanism was paralyzed, which shows how much impact this incident had on him. Quinn. Bastard, do I have to use violence? After so many years, she would not beat Quinn for no reason. At least she would not suddenly do it. When they met normally, she came to get the monitoring records of the Ammonite beast. If there was no urgent news, the normal news would be accumulated for 1 or 2 days before it was taken. Shaina didn't know where the thing was, but Quinn ignored her when she spoke normally, so she had to use a more traditional method. Facts have proved that pain can attract people's attention more than sound. Can't you be gentle, woman? Huh. I talked to you nicely, and you ignored me. Can you blame me now? What are you in a daze? Look at this. Quinn handed his bounty to Shaina, but Shaina didn't think it was anything special. What's so good about your face? Can't you look in the mirror enough? That's not the point. The point is here, only alive. What did I do? Why does this bounty change every few days? What on earth are in the minds of those people in the world government? Last time, he was cultivating the fruits honestly, but his bounty suddenly became 444,400,000, making him the Kaido with the highest bounty after Kaido and Arceus. This time, he still did nothing, and even left Wano country only once, but the bounty changed again. Although the price did not increase, the price of this only alive was much more serious. This is also a new consideration of the world government. Although the analysis department believes that their analysis cannot be wrong, the current situation is very strange. If they really misjudge Quinn's technical level, it will be a huge loss for the world government. Changing the bounty order is just a matter of a word, and it doesn't take much effort, so Quinn happily received the new bounty. However, the world government's investigation into the beast's pirates did not stop because of this. There are too many unknowns about them, so investigating the beast's pirates has become the exclusive mission of the CP0 team. Because they have the most contact with the beasts, they are relatively more familiar with them. Chapter 172, Pokemon that integrate into the lives of residents. Quinn's confusion did not hinder the progress of the times. The development of Wano country continued. The transformation of the rabbit bowl area was basically completed. The number of factories has reached saturation, and this output also met the needs of the beast pirates. In terms of foreign affairs, the beast fruit has become a food giant in the underground world of the New World, including fruits, dairy products, meat products, and some special medicines. These monopolized products ensure the status of the beast fruit, and have made a name for themselves in the industry. After establishing a good reputation, the beast began to expand its market, and some ordinary crops became their trade items. Compared with those products that focus on the high-end market, the profits brought by these bulk commodities are also very high, but they are based on quantity, and the behavior of the beast has also led to a major reshuffle of the underground world of the New World. Many islands in winter or desert environments cannot meet the demand for their own food production, and have been relying on foreign trade to obtain these foods, while the beast fruit has monopolized most of the business. As for the original black market merchants, they have been gradually eliminated in the competition. Through the research on tree fruits and some plants, Quinn and Nakin have created new high-yield crops. Moreover, both Humit's transportation industry and Kibutson's warehousing industry have to give face to Kaido and Charlotte Linlin. Charlotte Linlin is, because the bigger Kaido's business is, the more fruits she can purchase. Her taste has been cultivated, and ordinary fruits can no longer meet her needs, so she also supports Kaido's development in this regard. In this environment, their normal means of competition cannot compete with the beasts at all. As for abnormal means, Kaido hopes that they will use more. After all, there are not enough people to mine. In Wano country, with the support of the beasts, Kajiro's Chamber of Commerce has risen again, and began to absorb local people to join it, so that the residents of Wano country gradually get used to the existence of the beasts. In addition, many people have begun to accept the new things brought by the beasts, but this group of people did not come from Hakame or Rabbit Bowl, but first appeared in Kuri. Under the rule of Kazuki Oden, the farmers of Taoyuan Farm were the first to accept the existence of the beast's pirates. Thanks to Kinemon's operation, they rented out Taoyuan Farm. The farmers who lived in Taoyuan Farm were the most affected, because that was the way to support their families. In Kinemon's previous propaganda, the beast's pirates had evil intentions and the scenes they saw were all fake. the strange cows raised were also very scary creatures. After all, how could normal cows have 3 tails, or walk on 2 legs? They were ghost cows that would bring misfortune. Most of the local residents of Wano country were very ignorant. In this case, they had a resistance to the beast's pirates, that is, other regions were affected. Unfortunately, after seeding Taoyuan farm, they did not find a way to resettle the original farmers, so they had to face the management of the beast's pirates. But after some contact, they found that the truth did not seem to be as terrible as Kinemon said. The beasts developed mixed agriculture in Wano country. Although there was more agriculture in the Kuri area, there was also animal husbandry. After Taoyuan farm was acquired, a batch of large milk cans were sent here. The taste of their milk will change depending on the food they eat. They are sent here to feed on tree fruits to improve their taste. In order to sell the milk further, in addition to the weapons factory in the rabbit bowl area, dairy factories and fruit factories have been built in Jiuli and Beiwu. Reasonable industrialization will not damage the environment, but will also improve the national economic situation. The industrial wastewater has also become the feed for the Alola mud, and the toxic crystals they produce have become the material for Quin's weapons, forming a virtuous circle as a whole. Every time the beast's pirates expropriate land to build factories, Kurazumi Orochi can be happy for a while, but after their operation, Kurazumi Orochi will not be happy. In his opinion, he only needs to use knives and guns to force those people to work, but the beasts actually have to pay, but he doesn't have to pay for this money, because the profits of these new factories have nothing to do with him. He can only get part of the profits of the weapons factory. Similarly, the wages of those craftsmen are all paid by him. However, no matter who paid the money, he was not able to fully achieve his goal of persecuting Wano country, which made him very dissatisfied. But he dared not vent his anger, and could only do evil in his own Flower City. And Kaido did not interfere with him. The civilians who were persecuted by him, and went bankrupt, and moved out of Flower City were the priority recruits of Kojiro's Chamber of Commerce and the Beast Factory. In Kuri, a peaceful day began again. Before the sun rose, the farmers on the farm had to get up and prepare for work, and the same was true for the children. Going to school is the right of the descendants of samurai and nobles, and the children of ordinary farmers like them have no school to go to, and their recent work is also very simple, helping the big milk tank to milk. Kintaro, be careful not to fall, just put the milk there and wait for someone to move it. Although it was not the first time to work, she still told her little son a few words. I know, Mom, don't worry about me. The big milk tank has a very gentle personality. As long as you can accept their appearance, they are very easy to get along with. However, these big milk tanks don't like machines. Using machines will affect their mood and reduce the quality of milk, so they rely on farmers here to milk manually every day. There are dozens of big milk tanks scattered in the farm. There are no fences or chains. They are all free range here. It is impossible for Kintaro to complete all the work alone. He is only responsible for some of the big milk tanks. Those big milk tanks that are familiar with him will wait for him to come at a fixed location. On the way here, there are many children about his age. Almost all of them come here to milk, because the big milk tanks will cooperate with them, so there is no need for strong labor. Strong laborers are responsible for farming, weeding, watering and other work. Moreover, the intelligence of the big milk tanks is not much worse than these children. They even became friends with the big milk tanks. After the initial fear, they found that these strange cows are completely different from what those people said. The people of the beast pirates will deliver the prepared bottles every morning. All they have to do is store the milk and wait for it to be recycled in the evening. After milking, the big milk tanks not only look for food, but also play with the children, and the children's faces are filled with smiles. This is just a microcosm. In Wano country, the existence of Pokemon has gradually become a part of the lives of some residents. Chapter 173 Cats, Dogs, and Wolves. Time quietly came to the middle and late 1496, and Arceus did not find a new slate for the time being. The world government has not been able to establish a stable relationship with the beast's pirates, and is still purchasing Seaston products from the black market. CP0 and the Beast's pirates have negotiated twice, but each time they were led by the other side, so that they suspected that someone in Mary G's was deliberately leaking information to interfere with their plans. Eventually, a factional struggle was triggered. The officials of the world government already have their own teams, and it is very common to drag others down in such transactions. In the unintentional disclosure of the beasts, they also believed this problem, and an invisible political struggle took place on the Red Earth continent. Through the world news, the beasts pirates of Wano country also have some understanding of the major events in the outside world. The most arrogant newcomer this year is a man named Crocodile. His battle with Barrett and Whitebird was put on the front page by Morgans, but he lost his challenge to Whitebird and disappeared from then on, and the new world lost the movement of this person for a while. In Fishman Island, Neptune ascended the throne as the king of the kingdom of Ryugu. In Dressrosa, Cirrus won an unprecedented 1,000 consecutive victories and became the captain of the kingdom's army at the invitation of King Riku. In the outer sea of Wano country, the Golden Jackson has already approached here. Some time ago, the Whitebird pirates and the Roger pirates met. Goldie Roger knew that Kazuki Oden could translate the historical text. In order to find the final destination, Kazuki Oden was borrowed by him at his request. While he was on the ship, his retainers in Arashi and Cat VIP also secretly smuggled onto Roger's ship and sailed with them on the Golden Jackson. Earlier, his daughter Kazuki Hiyori was also born on the ship. The reason why they came to Wano country was for a historical text. There was a red historical text hidden in Wano country, which was a must-have for going to Raftel. And his wife Shia Nayushi had a high fever for unknown reasons, so he decided to leave her in Wano country. Without going through the diving port, Roger's pirate group entered Wano country from the waterfall under the leadership of Kazuki Oden. Today's Wano country has not become a factory under the control of Arceus, and the scene of black smoke rising everywhere does not exist. Kazuki Oden only noticed some changes, but did not suspect anything. It is normal to have some changes after leaving for so many years. Moreover, Roger's time is running out. He has no time to stay here for too long. As the heir of the Kazuki family, he certainly knows that the red historical text is under the inland sea of Wano country. He did not even choose to go there through the secret passage, but relied on his monster-like physique to dive directly to complete the rubbing work, and then went ashore to leave his wife and children here. All this was seen by Setsuna. Since Roger's ship flew over the waterfall, the news has been passed to Arceus and Kaido. If Kaido was alone, then he planned to stay out of the limelight for a while, because he knew Roger's strength very well. He was not his opponent now, and there were many strong people in his crew. But now he still has Arceus. Even if Goldie Roger can't drive them away, at most he will start a war with Wano country as the battlefield. But now the Beast's pirates have an unstable foundation after all, and they have no direct conflict with the Roger pirates. A rash battle will make all these years of hard work fall short. So the beasts are just watching and on guard. On the coast of Kuri, Kazuki Oden also saw the retainers who came to pick him up, but it was strange that only Reizo, Kanjuro, and Kakiro came, and their clothes were tattered. Where are Kinemon and the others? Why are you three here? Lord Oden, Ashura Daoji returned to Toyama to manage those humans after you left. Denjiro is doing business in the flower capital, and as for Kinemon, although they wanted to say that something happened in Wano country during this period, in order not to delay Oden's plan, Toki stopped them and let Oden leave with peace of mind. And this man with a big heart really left Wano country just like that. Although Wano country was completely different under the management of the beasts, he missed the best opportunity because of this. In addition to Toki, or Kazuki Toki, according to the rules of Wano country, she should now be surnamed Kazuki. In addition to her, there are Kazuki Momonosuke and Kazuki Hiyori. In Arashi and Nekomamashi were also left by Oden. Although they are all his retainers, Kazuki Toki doesn't know the others after all. Leaving to acquaintances can also allow her to better adapt to the environment here. And they have been watching the Golden Jackson leave Wano country before planning to leave here. While they were still introducing each other, Setsuna also called her Master Holy Beast. The ship has left Wano country. Can Setsuna move freely? What's wrong? I met two acquaintances, and I may have found a way to go back to Zal. The life card to Zal is difficult to find. At least the beast's pirates have not found such a thing in these years. After seeing Inarashi and Nekomamashi, Setsuna thought that they were very likely to carry the life card to Zal. Whatever you feel like, be careful. Understood. Inarashi and Nekomaru were chatting with Reizo and the others about what had happened over the years, and were planning to take Kazuki Toki and the others back to Odin Castle in Kuri. However, Inarashi and Nekomaru's ears suddenly stood up, and they heard a very familiar voice. Inarashi. Nekomaru. Long time no see. Did you actually come here? Setsuna? Why are you here? The population of Zal is not large, and the total number of one race is only about 20,000. Not only are they people of the same age, but it can be said that everyone has interacted with each other in life, even if they can't call each other's names. Not to mention children of similar age, they are quite familiar with each other, but in the eyes of Inarashi and Nekomaru, Setsuna should be in Zal, and he shouldn't be here. Of course it's because I went out to sea too. You two guys actually left Zal without saying anything. You didn't even call me for such a thing. You're still too young. They haven't seen each other for several years, but before they said a few words, Inarashi noticed something was wrong. Whether it was Reizo or Kikunojo, the way they looked at Setsuna was very strange. What's wrong with you? Do you know this girl? She's from the Beast's Pirates. Chapter 174, Revenge. The Beast's Pirates and the Arashi and Cat VIP have been sailing with Kazuki Odin for many years, and they have left their footprints on both Whitebeard's ship and Roger's ship. Although the outside world cannot receive news from Wano country, the Beast's Pirates have a great reputation in the outside world. Compared with the Whitebeard pirates, legendary pirates like the Flying Pirates are still a lot less well known, but they are also a force that cannot be ignored. They have naturally heard of the name of the Beasts, but they didn't expect that the Beast's Pirates were actually in Wano country. If it were other countries, it would not be uncommon to encounter pirates in the country, and it would even be very common. But this is the closed-door Wano country. Even Reizo, who has never been abroad, knows the name of the Beast's Pirates, which shows how long the Beast's Pirates have stayed here. And pirates can't stay in a country for a long time for no reason. This situation in Wano country can only mean one thing, that is, this place is regarded as their own territory by the Beast's Pirates. For Odin's retainers, Kazuki Odin is the one who will definitely inherit the position of the general of Wano country, so the behavior of the Beast's Pirates is undoubtedly hostile to Kazuki Odin. Setsuna, have you really joined the Beast's Pirates? Inarashi did not see the logo of the pirate flag on her, so he still had an expectation. These retainers of Odin had a kind of blind loyalty in their minds. According to the original timeline, Inarashi and Cat VIP could directly give the throne to Carrot after Teacher K was dismissed. In their opinion, the country of the Lord is far more important than their own country. As for the problem of the logo, it is caused by information asymmetry. The identity of the Beast's Pirates is not only represented by the skull flag symbolizing Kaido, but also by the logo of Arceus' Thousand Universe arm. Setsuna, Zorora and Shaina all have the logo of the Thousand Universe arm pattern on their clothes. Similar situations are not uncommon. The Whitebeard pirates often use a cross with a crescent to symbolize the identity of the Whitebeard pirates, but it is still very rare for two patterns to symbolize two people like the Beasts. Inarashi, who didn't know the Beast's Pirates, hoped that this was a misunderstanding, but he was disappointed. Yeah, it's been almost 5 years. Probably just a few months after leaving Zal. After you two sneaked out, Duke Yang Jisehen was very angry. It took me 2 years to find an opportunity to sneak out, and then. Have you forgotten the alliance between Zhao and Wano country? She originally wanted to tell the two about her experience in the past 2 years, but was interrupted by Cat VIP. You are still so annoying. Interrupting others is not a good habit. She used to have a bad relationship with Cat VIP, but the two often quarreled, and usually Inara she was the peacemaker in the middle. But he spoke to her in this tone, as soon as they met, as if she had made a big mistake, which made her feel very uncomfortable, so she directly fought back. If you're talking about the so-called ancient covenant, what's wrong with knowing it? What's the matter? Meow, we have an alliance with the Kazuki family. You are destroying this alliance by looting here with them. First of all, I remember that it was an alliance between the Furry Principality and Wano country, not an alliance between individuals. Secondly, we came here to develop this place, not to loot. Don't put the blame on me as soon as you come. Most of the residents of Zhao have heard of this alliance, but the impact of the alliance between countries on individuals is limited, and many people in Zhao only regard this alliance as a legend. One is in seclusion, and the other is on the back of a giant elephant, and has little contact with the outside world. Zhao and Wano country have not had any contact for hundreds of years, so Setsuna didn't take it too seriously. Cat VIP's attitude of taking it as an imperial decree and condemning her from a moral high ground made her very unhappy. The joy of the reunion was almost dispersed in an instant, and both sides even wanted to fight, but they were stopped by Lunaria as usual. That's enough, both of you. It was this stinky cat who started the trouble. Who told you to join the Beast's pirates? Do I need to report to you where I'm going? Do you think you're the Duke of Zhao? Duke Yang Jisehen won't interfere with other people's decisions even if he's here. The two were about to quarrel again, but Kazuki Toki's cough interrupted them. She returned home due to illness and hadn't fully recovered yet. She felt a little uncomfortable after being in the sea breeze for so long. Inarashi, Cat VIP. Let's take the lady and the young master and lady back first. Because Setsuna was also a member of the Beast's pirates, Odin's retainers had nothing to say to her, and they surrounded Kazuki Toki and left here. Kazuki Toki had been holding on so that Kazuki Odin could do what he wanted to do with peace of mind. At this time, his brain was also dizzy from the fever, so he didn't stop what was happening here. Faced with their own kind and companions, Inarashi and Cat VIP chose their companions. They had already left, and it was not good for them to stay here. If they stayed, Setsuna and Cat VIP might fight. Sorry, Setsuna, let's talk about it another day, Inarashi said, pulling Cat VIP away. In the evening, Setsuna returned to Taoyuan farm in a depressed mood. She was originally very happy to see her two former companions, but in the end, she was very angry. After all, this farm is in Kuri, and it is still a bit uneasy to leave someone here. Babanuki and Mandafesh are also outstanding among ordinary cadres. Not every member of the Beast Pirates of Wano country has that level. Babanuki is now guarding the mining field, and Mandafesh is still exploring underwater ruins, so the farm is handed over to Zorora, and he can also understand the situation of Miltank in time, because the language of Pokemon is universal. Zorora moved here, and Setsuna naturally followed. When Setsuna returned here, Zorora had just finished today's training. What's wrong? Didn't you meet two acquaintances? Why didn't you bring them here? Are you having a quarrel? A little bit. Cat VIP is really unreasonable. Cat Fur is really the most annoying creature. Ah, no, I'm not talking about you, Zorora. I'm talking about that stinky cat VIP. Cat VIP's words made her so angry that she forgot that Zorora was also a cat. After explaining, she ran back to her room and took out her diary. October 17th, 1496. It's all the fault of that bastard Cat VIP. He made me look bad in front of Zorora. I'll remember this grudge. The next update will be later, and we'll be back to normal tomorrow. Chapter 175. Mom, it's all Cat VIP's fault. If that guy hadn't pissed me off, I wouldn't have said the wrong thing. We both have cat fur, so why is there such a big difference? One is round like a ball and has a cat tongue that is very afraid of heat. He is also very impulsive and quarrels with her at every turn. The other is handsome, powerful, and takes good care of her in all aspects. In contrast, Cat VIP's reputation in Setsuna plummeted. She didn't remember much about things before the age of 2, but from the age of 3 to 5, she was mostly playing with Inarashi and Cat VIP. When she was 5, Cat VIP and Inarashi secretly left Zhao. She also left Zhao when she was 7, and was unfortunately captured afterwards. She was rescued by Shaina along the way. To date, she has lived in the Beast's Pirates for almost 5 years. If you count carefully, she actually spent more time with Zorora. It's okay for him to learn from Inarashi. Really, Yang Jesse-kun and my father never said that to me. Who does he think he is? When she wrote this, she couldn't help but think of Zhao, and then she found that she had forgotten a very important thing. She went to Inarashi and Nico VIP because she saw an acquaintance and wanted to ask them for a life card. The size of the life card does not affect its use. As long as there is a small piece, it is enough to guide her to Zal, but after being stimulated by Nico Vipir, she forgot all the important things. It's all Nico Vipir's fault. At the end of the diary, she drew a draft of Nico Vipir on the diary, and then put a big cross on it, as if she was venting her anger in this way. Then she turned off the lights, and lay on the bed, covering her head with the quilt, and didn't know what she was thinking. There is indeed no electricity in Wano country, but for Quinn, it is very simple to build a generator, and lay a few circuits. However, the generator here on the farm is a bit special. In addition to solar power generation, it can also generate electricity by manpower. The generator is in Zeraora's house. His daily training method is to ride a bicycle, to exercise his physical strength, and at the same time he will connect the wires of the generator to himself to charge himself. It is good for him to charge himself when he is free. In Odin Castle not far away, Denjiro also returned to Curie. He now runs around Wano country during the day, basically doing 3 things: borrowing money, repaying money, and making money. Kinemon's affairs have drained their savings. Now their lives basically rely on the support of Shimotsuki Yasu, but this money cannot be repaid. It is natural to repay debts. They have already owed Shimotsuki Yasu too much. Denjiro is the best person in this regard, so these tasks are placed on him. Moreover, after losing Taoyuan Farm, he is the one who thinks about the food, clothing, housing and transportation of the people in Odin Castle. He is also very happy that Inarashi and Nekomamashi are back, and he is even happier that his lord has a wife and children. But in addition to excitement, he must also face the fact that there are 5 more mouths to feed at home. Let's not count the kids for now. Nekomaru and Inarashi, 2 of the fur tribe, are big-bellied men. Now think about it, Ashura Doge's Toyama bandits seem to be a good place to go. At least in Toyama they can be self-sufficient, and have no shortage of food and drink. Looking at Inarashi and Nekomaru, Denjiro suddenly had some strange ideas. At the same time, they also knew why Kinemon didn't go to greet Odin. He suffered a series of tortures, and even a strong man like Kinemon couldn't recover completely. Now he has just gotten a little better. Are all these done by the beast's pirates? Yes, but not all. Last time, Kinemon was too impulsive, and had a conflict with the beasts for his former younger brother, and the result. Now that things have come to this, the result is clear. Does Setsuna have any conflicts with you guys? Setsuna? That fur tribe member from the daytime. She used to be our friend. We grew up together in Zal. I didn't expect to see her here. Compared to Cat Vipir, Inarashi was calmer and more rational. He was more worried about Setsuna's relationship with them. If there was hatred between them, it would be very uncomfortable for them to be caught in the middle. After all, they would have to make a choice at that time. According to his understanding of Setsuna, she would not easily change her mind about what she had decided. There is no direct conflict, and the residents of Curie seem to have a good opinion of her. Komatsu, she is also a member of the Beast's Pirates. I'm just telling the truth. Although she is a member of the Beast's Pirates, the residents of the farm say that she is easy to get along with and the children are not afraid of her. But she is still a pirate, and she is also connected to Kurazumi Orochi. Don't forget that those people were brought into Wano country by Kurazumi Orochi. Speaking of Kurazumi Orochi, Kanjuro even had a feeling of gritting his teeth. He was able to put the role into his position. He was also a very good talent in the undercover industry. Listening to the comments of his companions, Cat Vipir seemed to have some different ideas. On Onigashima, a strange thing happened at this time. Yamato is already more than 2 years old. Ordinary children can speak fluently at the age of 2, not to mention the people here. Yamato is definitely not inferior in physical development. Milk from Miltank and eggs from Chandler are both extremely nutritious foods. At the same time, they also inherited Kaido's bloodline. Even Jack, who is of Fishman bloodline, may not be able to compare with her. But today, when she addressed Arceus, she used a word that he could not accept. Hey, Yamato, tell me, who told you to call me mom? Yamato actually has not many good days left, because according to Kaido's plan, she will have to accept training from Kaido in less than a year, and someone will teach her some characters during this time. Shaina, Nakin, Olga, their own knowledge is enough to teach a 2-year-old child. But the problem is that Yamato no longer calls him godfather or foster father for some reason, but mom. Kaido is the father. Yes, then what? The foster father has a good relationship with the father, and the teacher said that pronunciations like are used by girls, so the foster father is a girl, a woman who is very close to the father. Isn't she the mother? Who Yamato? It's good to draw inferences from one example, but don't use it in this kind of place next time. Remember, I'm not your mother, nor am I a woman. He now knows where the problem lies. He learned language by himself from watching animations, and self-study will lead to many details that are unclear. In addition, the types of animations he watched at the time led to a consequence. That is, many of his habitual habits are pronunciations that only women use. Kaido doesn't care about such details, and Shaina and others will not ask this question presumptuously, even if they find out, which led to today's Oolong. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.